people make you feel like you're supposed to do everything by a certain time and by a certain age as a man.
Facts.
And then the other thing is that they're also like they'll play it like these are the things that we're supposed to like. If you're not doing these things, then you're not a man. I see a lot of that, especially in the manosphere these days. It's a lot of, if you don't do this or if you're not doing that, then who are you? You know what I'm saying?
Man, it's like, man, it's like we fall, we fall prey to too many illusions, man.
Yeah, I mean, what you think about, the manosphere, so to speak, and Kevin Samuels, Red Pill? What are your thoughts on all that? Because that's popping these days, and a lot of guys are in tune.
Kevin Samuels, man, I haven't heard about the second name, but the first name you named, but Kevin Samuels, man, he's he be offering legit information. It's just his delivery. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't really like his delivery, man.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Like, what don't you like about the delivery though?
The delivery, man, his delivery is like, his delivery almost like erases what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Women do need to hear these things, man. You know
they need to hear it though. That's facts.
Yeah, they need to hear it, man. Just my critique, man. I think he can work on his delivery.
What about you guys?
He be going in, man.
What's up, Nikad? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you, Jason?
I'm good. Brothers, listen, I apologize in advance. Nikad, I saw your email.
Hold on one second. I don't know. There's a slight delay. I'm good, Jason.
Fantastic. Can you hear me okay?
I'm hearing it over again.
Is that better? How about that? Is that better?
I don't know. That's weird. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Is that better? Ricardo?
Yes.
Oh, is that better?
Yeah, I mean, I hear it, but I still think there's a delay. It's weird as fuck. Hold on 1 second, guys. Okay, I see what's going on here. It's a reverb that I was getting, guys. Sorry about that from the YouTube, and still sometimes not the best at doing all of this shit, I'll be honest. But yeah, guys, back to what y'all was saying. If y'all could hear me, just you can one at a time. But I was hearing what you were saying, Darren. Like, I agree. Like, that's what I love about the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? The fact that women actually do need to hear it. They're hearing it, but I feel like the shows are it's like, are they learning? Like, I'm not sure.
Facts, man. I believe, that kind of makes it hard because it's almost like it's like you get on somebody's case, even though you get on their case with the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, I mean, and people will also realize that at the end of the day, the truth is like, it's not always something that people want to hear. You know what I'm saying? We got to remember that. You know what I'm saying?
Those facts. You gotta, those facts.
Yeah, and women now, like, the way I see it is that they're trying to learn what we're supposed to know, so that way they can fuck around and then tell men what they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, hey, that's tough. I can see that too, man. I can see that. They're trying to reverse psychology.
It is, and women always do this. Women always, for the most part, are on some stuff where they think they know your role better than you do. You get what I'm saying? And so now they don't watch some fucking Kevin Samuels and and they know now what a high value man
now they
wants.
filled in. Yeah, they filled in. Now they trying to manipulate you.
Yeah, and now and also they're trying to set the terms of which you get to call yourself high value and you know hypergamous themes where okay, I'm gonna listen to this guy and I'm gonna do what he says if you got to drive a nice car, dress real nice, you know what I'm saying? Seem like he has some money or whatever the case is, because that's a lot of the game right now. It's a big part of the game right now where dudes are seeing all over the manosphere, all over YouTube, all over various different places. It's just like, yo, the whole MO is to just get your shit together, look good. And as long as you look good, you know what I'm saying? That suffices. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to have any real depth. Your value of high value is you know the definition is more surrounded about what you have to show for yourself. Not it's the basic man stuff. Yeah, it's the basic soup. It is. It's what they taught us over the last 50, 60, 100 years or whatever the case is. To you're valued by what? A man's valued by what? His labor.
Yeah, what he brings to the table. really the table, you know, really by making the table, honestly.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Jason, Barrett, y'all got anything to say? What's going on?
Yeah. Nakada, man, I got to jump off in just 1 minute. I had to get on this call today, Sunday night. I saw your email.
Yeah.
What's up, Duran? What's up, Barrett? Nice meeting you guys. I had to tell you some big news, man. That's why I logged on, because you talk about success stories, man. So, you know, all the shit I went through.
Right.
And you remember back in the day, you and I were talking a year ago, 2 years ago.
Right.
And dude, I went through the mill and I really pushed away and disconnected and cut off so much toxicity and very, very dark, you know, situations and things. And I kept all of it away, dude. And eventually, November 29th last year, man, I met a goal. I was doing a talk at church. I met a goal, fell in love with her and started seeing her. And I actually just got engaged a couple weeks ago, and my life is just completely amazing. Jason, and you know, I tell so many people in the car to read your book. I said, listen, read his book. I said, it's a lot of it's for men. It is about working on yourself. Like, you need to invest that time. Dude, you know how much time I spent working on myself? 2 fucking years, dude. I spent, right? 2, maybe 3. But like, dude, my life could not be better. And I really want to share that with you guys. If anybody else is listening out there, like, put the work in, do the work. Be the best version of yourself, and you will meet the right person that is the light of the world. God will bring them to you, man. So I just wanted to share that with you, dude.
I'm glad to hear you're doing better, bro. I'm glad to hear you actually even found somebody that meets your standard. And I hope you recall what I was saying before, based on where you came from, right? You know, like, she's got to meet your standards, bro.
Absolutely.
All across the board, and be willing, you know what I mean? You can't forget where you come from, like, and no, you know, no more trauma babies.
Exactly, man. No, Nakada, dude, I'm serious, man. I literally, I'm actually having dinner with her right now. I stepped away to get on this call. I literally just want to tell you, I love you, brother. You're an awesome dude, man. You're an angel on many people's shoulders.
Thank you, man.
I just want to say thank you. I just really want to share this news with you, dude. So if anybody else is listening, they're having a rough time, like, pick up your shit, make it happen, do it one step at a time in the gym, clean up, whatever that takes. Focus on you. And, you know, if there's any success story out there, dude, I'm certainly one of them, man. So I appreciate you guys. And I'm sorry I can't stay on the call, but I just wanted to share it with you, brother.
No problem, Jason. I'm happy to have you, and tell the lady I said hello, okay?
I'll definitely do that. Duran and Barrett, pleasure meeting you, man.
Pleasure meeting you as well, man. Take it easy.
Awesome. Much love to all of you guys.
All right, peace.
Nicard, I'll jump on one of these again soon, brother.
For sure, man. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for providing some feedback, man. Jason's one of, like, my first coaching clients, like, from at least 2 or 3, maybe, like, it's like 3 years ago. It could be longer. 2017, actually, I think.
Yeah, probably a few years ago, man.
Yeah. So
you need guys like Nicard. Like, if anybody's not worked with Nicard, you need a guy like this to shoot you straight. Like, everybody just beats around the bush, you know. And sometimes you need a friend, even if, you know, I know a lot of the stuff, but sometimes it's hard. It's easier said than done. You need a friend, a companion, somebody to work with that can sort of walk you through it sometimes. And when you have the low, it's roller coaster, it's highs and lows, hills and valleys. You
It
get to a low
is.
point sometimes. You need somebody like that. So, dude, I
Yeah.
tell everybody to look at your book, brother. I do.
All right, man. I
Very highly
appreciate
recommend
that,
it.
my brother. I appreciate that. And it don't stop, man. It doesn't stop. The growth doesn't stop. The evolution doesn't stop. For some men younger than you, Jason, they may not be as focused on, the right relationship or the marriage and situation, but you come from a good family, a great marriage, and it sets a standard, you know what I mean? And even if you did some, dumb man shit, we all do some dumb man shit with some women who
We all do it sometimes, don't we?
we knew it wasn't going anywhere with her. You know what I'm saying? But you
We
did
can't
it.
stop touching the stove.
Yeah. So it's like, after that, what's key I see is that a lot of guys just really is either date or court on your level, right?
Right.
Or find a level higher than yours to meet. You get what I'm saying? Because like women do this shit all the time. We call it hypergamy, but it's not just hypergamy. Sometimes, you come from, let's say, a dual parent household. Like, you don't want to step down unless it's a real solid person that can really grow with you and your leadership skills are really good. You don't want to step down to somebody who hasn't had that, because there's going to be a little bit of a difference in how you guys, kind of come together. Like, her understanding of what a man's supposed to be, what a relationship's supposed to be, is different. And if you come from a single parent household, like a lot of men do, like, another thing is to literally try to get a woman from dual parent household. Now, I get it. That shit is hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you kind of gotta want to step up. You kind of gotta want to, meet a higher level, or be with somebody also that can provide that kind of that reinforcement. You know what I'm saying? That, it's a better standard to meet than to just be guessing, man. Like, I feel like a lot of people be guessing in these relationships with these women. Like, you can't get, don't guess. Look at her background.
Yeah, your book paints, I think it wasn't your book in particular, but there's another book I read on relationships, and it said that, most relationships, they're you just jump in them. You know what I mean? There's no strategy to it.
Yeah.
And, I found that to be facts.
Hey, keep rolling, Darren. I gotta run, guys. I love you all. Best
For
to
sure,
everybody.
man.
See you,
For
brother.
sure.
Take care,
Easy,
Nakata.
man. Likewise, bro. Yeah, I mean, it's like that, guys, because like this guy, he's even older than me. And everybody's at a different level and has a different need. You know what I'm saying? For some of the folks on Instagram, it's gonna take a little while, but just trying to reconnect over there. We're live on YouTube right now, guys. If you're not following me on YouTube, follow me on YouTube. I don't do much over there, but follow me, because I'm gonna be doing a lot better, just trying to get that content out there. But yeah, man, he was at an age, he had parental expectations from his parents. He had a whole system of wanting to marry and reasons to marry. But and I find a lot of men who are also in that situation, but really don't take it seriously. It's like, you can get to 39, 40, and if you're not married, people are going to expect, right, that you at least know what the hell you're doing in life, right? And for him, he did, and he had these things, and it made a difference. So focusing on himself, it had rewards in it. You know what I'm saying? So even if he didn't get the wife for another couple of years, or the potential wife for another couple of years, the work that he had already put in on himself, and just like, the coaching work and various other the stuff that he was doing, focusing on his business, like, that helps. Because there was a time, like, even with him, where he would hit me back, and I'm like, why? Like, don't do it. Reconsider. Read some literature.
MC.
Like, for real, you know what I'm saying? Like, reconsider. Yeah. And it's funny because, like, I had another session with somebody where he was checking out this other lady, and I do the metaphysical coaching as well too, based on the human design of your birthday. It's astrological in its core, right? But
Right.
the matchup was like one of those rare matchups, and it was either you're gonna hit and hit hard and be successful, but these were the drawbacks. And it's hard sometimes when a man has his sights set on a woman, especially at a certain age, when like to think to yourself, okay, this shit ain't gonna work out at all. Like, like sometimes you create, like, I don't know, man. Like I got stories. You know what I mean?
So,
I got
man,
stories.
I ain't got too many stories, man, but I know, man, because hey, like this one philosopher, he said it. He says it best. I think his name was Epictetus or something like that. But he said
Epicurus.
it's
Yeah.
yep, Epictetus. He was a Stoic.
Yeah.
But him, he said it's not things, but it's the view on things. You know what I mean? If we may like as a man, we may like, we like you said, we got these images and we got to do all this stuff. So we get something that looks like it, we put that on them, and they may not even be there. They may be the decoy. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. For sure. For sure. That's the name of the game.
So
That's the name of the game. It's and you got, as men, we got to know the game. Like everybody has this idea that like they're gonna just easily find themselves, and it's gonna be like a sweet story, like a real, this is what happens. Like, come on, man. Like
almost like that, almost like what the women fed of, like, a dream come true with an ideal husband or something like that.
right.
I'm talking about like, like that.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying that you can't have that.
Right.
And I'm not saying that you won't have that, but like there's
It just
so
ain't peaches and cream.
just come on, man.
It
This
ain't
shit,
peaches and cream.
it is not. Like, we live in a trauma filled, like, kind of situation. Like, society, almost everybody that you meet, even if they come from a dual parent home, are going to be like trauma babies. And even you yourself got to go through some healing from traumas that you've been through.
Right.
So it's like, at the end of the day, it's like you got to learn how to be like a selector. You got to be able to figure out what pieces are missing and what pieces you can add to somebody's equation for it to even be really worth your time. That's how I feel, because it's a science to it. Just like I said earlier, like, if you can upgrade and by choosing a mate that can provide something that perhaps you don't, that provides, because, like, here's the thing, the whole upgrade idea of mating is really for the long term. If you just want to smash, you don't need to upgrade. That could be any single mother's daughter, second or third generation. You know what I'm saying? That could be anybody to smash. So the idea of even considering more or wanting more from the person, like looking at the background, that's when you're trying to legacy build. And I think that's where a lot of people, and me, really, really fall off, in the sense of the way I view things when it comes to men and relationships. Like, man, please, like, you just do, like, if you're not a single father, be happy. You know what I'm saying? If you, like, I've been telling some of these guys, they hit me up and they're just at this stage in their life. They want to have kids and they want to do this and they want to do that. Listen, man, I'm all in support of you, bro. Do you get yours? Have the family that you want to have, but don't rush it. Don't rush that shit. Like,
hey, if you rush it, you mess it up, man.
You always mess it up. You always mess it up. Yeah, go ahead.
Man, I got homeboys, man. They were having baby fever, back when I was getting my bachelor's. Mm-hmm. They were having baby fever, and they were always telling me, like, hey man, I gotta get one. I gotta leave one in there, type stuff. Plotting, really. I'm like, man, I'm trying to deter them. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be a deterrent, but fast forward to now.
How old are you?
I'm only 25.
Okay, so yeah, at 25, so you just pretty much finished the bachelor's not too long ago, right?
Yeah,
Which,
I
which
finished the bachelor's in 18, and I just finished my master's in August.
see, and you're in a good position to negotiate first and foremost. But man, that's one of the things about going to school. I must admit, it's like when you go to college and you get to watch some of your friends from back home and
Mhm.
and see what kind of decisions they make, and then like if you can make it through college, which most people do, but you don't go to college to have babies, you know what I'm saying. You go to college usually to sample the ocean and get a little education while you're at it. Now some
So
people
man,
I don't
I
know
don't, I don't I don't see nothing wrong with babies. It's just like the selection of who you choose to have it with. That baby fever in itself. You know what I mean? I feel like going back to what you're saying, I feel like that ain't really you got to be more strategic. Just like you got to be strategic with
gotta
that,
be.
especially with your relationships. You know what I'm saying? Because what I was going to say. Fast forward to now, man. This baby mother, she done flatted all four tires on this new
What?
Impala, man. She done
What?
bust his window and all that. You know,
Wow, that's crazy.
and,
That's
and he
crazy.
doesn't he doesn't even feel secure in the secure in leaving her because of the child. You know what I'm saying? So
Ooh,
you know what I mean. That's it's like damn. You
that's a
know what I mean?
tough one.
Yeah.
But you know what though? It's like everybody expect for us to basically have these answers to these things as men sometimes. And the truth is, like, we don't. Like a lot of guys don't have the answers to these dilemmas when they're faced with them in these relationships with these women sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And and because of that, they're gonna get a little caught up. I mean, I know I've been there, and that's the key right there that we're talking about. Trying not to end up in this situation, so that way, you know what I'm saying?
Facts, facts.
You're not like him, and
Mhm.
he should serve as a good example. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because you see what it is like. If you come from similar backgrounds as this person, he might be your boy or whatever the case is, but he's likely
Yeah, we,
to.
we had we had similar backgrounds. It's just man, I chose education. I'm like the only one out of my peer group that chose the route.
Yeah,
So it was it was tough on my end having to see them making money while I'm
right.
stressing, getting gray hairs. You know what I'm saying?
In college.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what you do. It's a long-term plot for you. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's not a short-term thing. As an entrepreneur myself, I know what that's like. It's like you go out there and you got to get it now. And in school, you got a plan. You get to work on your plan for a couple of years before you even literally inactivate it, so to speak. You get what I'm saying? So like
Yeah, you you
that.
you you do get that. You do get that time to think.
You
For
do.
sure.
You do. And if you use it wisely, you know what I'm saying? You get to see the difference that it makes, because like, I went to school, but I didn't finish school. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying I want to finish school. I decided I was finished, so to speak. But the point is, I got some friends who did it and did it the right way, and they're reaping the rewards. You know what I'm saying? So like
Right.
for yourself, like, at 25, reap the rewards, be aggressively go towards it. And it's just so much more that you can do,
For sure.
when you got that focus. But when you don't have the focus, man, that's when the problem comes in, you know.
Facts.
Yeah, because like you can have the education. I had some friends from back in the day. Like this dude was like a genius, like really a fucking genius. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
he would have these weird ass jobs. And
Man.
people, this is like what, '07, '08. And we'd be like, yo, what is wrong with you, bro? Like like he not on, I mean, he was like genius level genius, like
Yeah.
peculiar type of dude. Like you know that something's different about him. His brain big, you know what I mean? He's very
Right. Right.
stoic. Like the book you were talking about, very,
right.
very, very stoic type of dude that at that time, that he was a few years older than me.
He basically kind of wear his intelligence on the shoulders.
Yeah, man, that's a perfect way to describe it. It just that's how it seems. That he wears his intelligence on his shoulders, but he was very intelligent, and for some people with that brain and the degree or whatever, sometimes a degree is not all that. It's not like the all is of your fucking life. But
I agree. The degree really is it's just it's a piece of paper on the wall.
Yeah, it's really how you apply the skills that you gained in that whole situation. You know what I'm saying? Because if you ain't gained nothing from it other than a piece of paper, like you're not gonna. What are you gonna get out of life? Like you still gotta hustle. You still gotta you still gotta have certain things that you want. You know what I'm saying? And be able to go towards it aggressively, because that's the other thing. We want to impress women. Now, I'm not saying that that's healthy, but we want to impress women, generally speaking, with our success. And like, any man who says that's not true, they lie. It's
almost essential.
Right.
It's almost essential, man. Especially if you doing all the work, you want that acknowledgement, especially from a potential mate. You know what I'm saying? It's like necessary.
I don't know no man who doesn't want that reward.
Right.
That's I think it's just that if we look back and we go back at how most of these relationships get started and how we put, we over prioritize the relationships. Basically, that's basically all we do. And so, like, even if you do crawl up from, let's say you meet her in college and you was just doing this and doing that to get by, right? And 2 or 3 years later, let's say you met her junior, senior year, and y'all graduate, or you graduate before her, and you go from eating ramen noodles to a decent and good job that you actually like. You get what I'm saying? Like, sometimes that's how it is for a lot of men. And we don't prepare the woman well enough for where we're going. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have it in our heads sometimes. This is what we want.
You preaching now.
Yeah. You got
preaching, man. Because I know of, like, it's a couple women I used to talk to, man. I was just in college. I was just just enjoying the moment. I wasn't thinking about preparing, prepping.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because once you get a woman's mind, she's really at your advantage. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So that's like maturity right there. That's no facts.
And it does require a lot of work, a lot of personal work on a man's behalf, like on a level where you're literally, what you want. You get what I'm saying? Like, and without that, like, you can't really look like too far down the line, because let's say, for example, rap. I like to use rappers and these musical dudes as an example. And the reason I do is because these guys, a lot of the times, right, when they're young, they have this over the top. If you've ever had any rapper friends, you know what it's like. I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be this. I'm going to be that. It's his way, essentially, of basically hyping himself up and believing in himself. And listen, man, when this dude finds a girl who actually believes that shit, like, that shit's magical.
Yeah, for sure.
It is.
A rapper show will do that, man. You hear, every rapper, when they first start, that's all they talk about. They talk about them making it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what rapper.
Yeah.
I don't care what type of rap. I don't care. They always talk about them making it. That's the first stage they go.
And it's a big stage for the average entertainer type. It's a huge stage, because they, that's where they got to learn how to believe in themselves. And they got to believe in themselves so much so that, they're willing to bank a lot of things on it. Whereas, when you got a good degree, you can believe in yourself, or whatever the case, you're going to school, but it ain't the same, like, risk reward. You know what I'm saying? Like the risk
It's a
reward.
different path, man. And you know, I like, you know, I was telling my homies, man, because you know what I mean, they, you know, at a certain point they, you know, they stop kind of believing in your boy too. But you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I'm taking the slow route. You know what I'm saying? Like even now, you know, I've got my degrees, but now, you know, I'm a counselor. I'm a family therapist.
Oh,
Now I
really?
have, yeah, I'm
Okay.
a family therapist. You know, so this conversation, you know, this my line of work. You know what I'm saying?
Aha.
You know, it's all,
That's
you
what's
know, I
up.
kind of enjoy
And
it.
so, and you, how long you been doing that now?
Man, I just got the job. It's been about 2 months.
Okay, okay, that's what's up. And this is like, this is in harmony with the degree.
Yeah, it's in harmony with the degree and with, going forward, like you said, uh, gotta keep going forward. You know, you gotta push aggressively. That's
Yeah,
what you said. Gotta push aggressively because like right now, man, I could stop right now. I could stop right now and be like, man, okay, I got my degree. I got me a decent paying job. That's exactly what I want to do. I can stop right now, but that ain't what I really want, man. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And your book, man, I'm telling you, your book is it, man. Cause like your book allowed me to, consciously take a break from relationships. I
that's
was,
key.
yeah, cause unconscious, it ain't really shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, it like, because you know what, I talk to a lot of dudes and that's the first thing that they'll tell me is like, oh, yeah, I'm taking a break, you know what I'm saying, I'm taking a break. And then come
Yeah,
to find out he's still texting, he's still talking, he's
yeah,
still smashing somebody, you know what I'm
facts,
saying. And he's like, oh, that ain't, she just,
facts.
that ain't nothing. Oh, it's not. It's not. That's why you linking up with her so much times out the week, right? Come on, man.
Man, it's facts, man. It's facts, man. And when you consciously take that break, man, it's like you got that extra thinking room. You got the extra thinking space. You know what I'm saying? And you need that.
Like
You
we
need that.
need, and that's the thing. Like I think that's where a lot of the dudes out here, probably a lot of men in general, probably lose out at, is because we don't view it as something that's needed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And that's why I say all the time to people, especially lately, I was like, my book ain't never gonna get old. As a matter of fact, I do have a new version of it that I'm dropping soon, but it's not gonna be old because as long as society already programs the average boy to chase after that tail, you know what I'm saying, to chase after that woman or somehow, some way be, surround himself with, the validation or feel the need to validate himself by by being approved by women. As
Right,
long as
right.
as long as that's the case, and trust me, that's the case. That's the case.
That's
You,
facts.
you know what I'm
Facts.
saying?
Yeah.
You know that's the case. Because a lot of the times, as men who, let's say, men who will spend a considerable amount of time with their mothers, probably more time with their mothers than they spent with their fathers, right?
Right,
Men
right.
men who are in that situation will often find themselves unconsciously, um, basically looking to please women, and
And
on
look, man, and as you going, man, I'm thinking like, damn, that's pretty much all men. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's real, man. It's pretty much all of us. It's either your mom or your grandma.
Listen, is no avoiding it. It's no avoiding it. Like because for, especially in the Black community, and not just the Black community, but especially in the Black community, you have a situation where um the majority of the males are being raised without fathers. You know what I'm saying? So like we have to,
Mm-hmm.
in these situations, men have to find essentially that masculine thing. They got to find it damn near on their own. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like literally. And if you don't find it on your own, then you struggle to find it to a certain degree. And when you struggle to find it, all kind of shit happens. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like either you find it or you find a version of it. You start linking up with some people. I know a lot of religious type masculine dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, their whole thing is what a woman should do and supposed to do. And listen, man, like a woman gonna do what you train her to do based on who you are. So if you're the dude that essentially, you know, if you're not serious about certain things, you're not like, nah, bro, she's not gonna be serious about you. Like, you know, if you don't say that this is what you want and this is what you're looking for in a situation, like a lot of guys, like they got it twisted. Like they just
Hey,
want,
man, you speaking facts.
yeah,
You
because
speaking facts, man.
but here's the thing, like we've been taught not to be very demanding. And
Yeah.
I think that that's a big issue that we have in our community as well, and all as men, because like there's this idea that you're just supposed to be happy just as long as you're getting some ass.
Yeah, and that's it. That's it, man. 'Cause that's all it is. That's all it is, man. Like when I try to come across my homeboys, I be like, nah, I ain't feeling the type deal. They be like, you know, they be questioning. You know what I mean? This ain't with my boys. This with, you know, this with a lot of people. Cause like you said, it's how we condition. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
it's a conditioning thing, and it's a recycled trauma kind of thing. And it's not to blame the women. You get what I'm saying? Is really, you know, a man has to get to that point in his life for sure, where he, you know what I mean, he knows what he wants, what he's looking for. And, you know, because like in the early ages, we know we want sex, right? we
Right.
know we know we want her attention. You know, we know we want certain things, but it's not really ever anything that you have to demand from a woman. You know, girls are going to give you attention, point blank, period. You get what I'm saying?
Showing
But
up, showing up at, you know, if you get that certain, you know, showing up, you got their mind, man.
yeah,
That's the thing. That's the thing that you know that I normally try to do with them, man. But like, you know what I mean? That was just, you know, prior, you know, before this, you know, previously, it was like getting their mind was just a thing, you know what I'm saying? But you know, now, you know, after reading your book and, you know, just kind of maturing a little bit, it's like, okay, get their mind, and now now you need to develop them. You know what I'm saying?
right. I mean, and ironically, we got a woman now inside the call. You know, what's going on, Miss Amina L. And Barrett, you there? You know, anytime you want to say something, you know, join us as well. You know, just wanted to say hello. But yeah, I mean, that's what I talk about for real. Like a man's got to know what he wants from a woman, point blank, period. And I'm just saying that when we were young, especially for the majority of the men in their 20s, this is where you have your opportunity, because like once you get to know yourself on a high level, like you're gonna be on some shit like, nah, I'm not doing that. Nah, I'm not taking that. Like I'm not with that. You get what I'm saying? Like, and
For sure.
and it's not gonna be like you're the worst person in the world for having standards. Like that's not how it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? She's
Nah,
supposed to ideally be like, oh, okay, so that's what you want. Let me see if I can do that.
And you know, I don't, you know, I ain't trying to seem dogmatic, but that's what I feel like women are more fluid, you know what I'm saying? And that's how it's supposed to shape. And I feel like that's how it's supposed to happen. You know what I'm talking about?
I
I
agree.
feel, I feel like we have the structure. They bring the fluid. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But you see, that's the thing. As for the mass majority, as things presently are, you know, the structure is what's missing. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Because the majority of us in these days and times, like we don't got that. We don't have that energy. We don't have that, you know, are you there? We don't have it. You know, we haven't been taught well enough, so to speak. Can you guys still hear me? This thing gonna go stupid on me. It did.
Oh, there you go.
For sure. Hey man, we lost you, man.
Hey, turn your mute off.
Nah, I'm not mute.
No, he is.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah, my computer was doing some trippy stuff. What's going on, Barrett? What you got for me, man?
Hey,
So
hey, man. Hey, thanks for having me on. I like your book, man. It's real informative. It really allowed me to step back and think about, where I'm at in my life and in relationships, and uh,
so
so it's just really helped me to just think consciously, like y'all was talking about. But hey, I wanted to talk about like meeting women where they're at,
Ooh.
and getting women, or like versus getting women to step up to your own expectations, like in order to grow together. So like, like men can't just accept bad behavior and let things go that perpetually happen. Because you can end up like dumbing down your own genius. You know what I'm saying? Like you can end
facts.
up you can end up like not thinking at your greatest potential, and still like doing doing things just because she don't want to be challenged. So touch on
Yeah. Well, all right. I think that's a sensitive subject, right? Because I don't know. I wrote this in the book, and I say this pretty often, and it's that great or extraordinary people make changes and successfully make changes. You get what I'm saying? Meaning that, let's say Carmelo Anthony went from being a full-time starter in New York and then accepted a bench role in OKC, accepted a bench role in Portland, and realized that he got to catch and shoot because nobody's going to give him the ball to hold. He, he modified his role, but he didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, before he was a bench player, so to speak, you get what I'm saying? He still felt like he was a top quality starter and was deserving of certain things. So it's like everybody is not great enough to adjust to a new role. And that all, in my opinion, depends, it depends heavily on where she's coming from, what she's accustomed to. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if she's been taught, let's say like a woman could come from a single parent household, right? And and her mother said, do certain things, this is how you're supposed to have a relationship. And that could have been enough for her to say, okay, let's say the mother said, I want you to be better than I was. And she instills certain things. And that woman does it, that young lady does it, and finds herself in a, let's say, a happy relationship versus in a situation where she's repeating her mother's mistakes because her mother consciously did that. But a lot of people don't consciously change. So with that being said, it you're you're dealing with a very small percentage of women who, if they're not if they're not naturally like the type of person who's looking for change, naturally evolving herself, you know what I'm saying, growing, if she's not doing that naturally, then she damn sure ain't trying to hear shit from you.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. That's what I hear from that. I I just found out that a lot of women, they're not in relationships to be challenged. They're just in relationships to, I don't know, just to have a relationship, if that makes sense.
I mean, it makes sense to a lot of women because that's what a lot of women have been taught, that relationships is a part of their, their validation as well too. It's funny because I talk about it being such a masculine male validation type of thing where men want to be validated by being in relationships, and that's true, right? But the truth is, women do the same thing too. And if that's all she ever wanted, in my opinion, that's enough to get her a dude. That's enough to get her somebody interested in her, right? It's enough to have a basic relationship, but it's not enough for her to say, okay, what change, growth? Like they ain't tell me about this in high school. ain't nobody said that I had to change and grow. My mama said, or I saw this on TV. I heard this in the music. This is what women do. This is what women are supposed to do. This is how it works. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
Essentially, you get what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
And so like if that's not a part of a person's consciousness to be growing and changing with the other person, which it just ain't for most people, especially men. This is why so many of these little relationships fail with these guys and these women, because like some guys, meet a really great woman at a really bad time, and I know I have. So it's like you meet a woman where
who's probably trying to help you make some changes, but you ain't ready to make those changes. And it seems, and if she even sticks around and does it with you, it feels like a fucking waste of her time. And it is a waste of her time, because like when you're not ready, you're not ready, especially as men. You know what I mean? Like it's really hard for us to get ready before we're ready. Like it usually just boils down to like, hey, it's either you are or you aren't. And until you are, like the relationships just really don't work out. Yeah, they could be little things. They could be little, flings. They could be sexual relationships. They could be a variety of different things. Like we know that, we've seen those, but it doesn't take much to be in those, because those end real fast, and y'all already know that. So it's just like, it's not a part of the consciousness in many cases for men, especially young men, to even be challenging women, for them to even think that they want to be challenged by you. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, like I noticed in my relationship, my past relationship, it was like you're not even really trying to blame her for anything. Like you trying to touch on things that make you feel a certain way. You try to bring it to her nicely. You try to bring it to her respectfully, but it's almost like you might as well not say nothing. Like, so in that case, that's what ended up happening to me. Like I just stopped, like, saying stuff regarding to, how things made me feel.
right.
So yeah, and that ended up it kind of ended up turning sour since I kind of uh left my opinion out of the relationship, and it ended up kind of taking some of the leadership out of the relationship as well, because that's what men are there for, to be leaders. But if she don't want to be challenged, or she don't want to grow, or anything like that, it's gonna be
I
hard.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be hard, because here's the thing. Like I'm at a level now, especially with the coaching that I do, the metaphysical coaching. I can show you whether y'all gonna match up or not. You get what I'm saying? Based on her birth data, some of the metaphysical work that I do. And I like to trust those numbers before I try to trust my feelings, so to speak, or just the odds. And the real truth is that most ideal relationships are the ones where you feel like you don't need to change. She doesn't need to change a damn thing. But the truth is, that feeling only lasts for so long before the reality sets in that you both have to adjust to each other. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is that it has to have this base where like you just fit, because there was this time about 10 or so years ago when I was getting married and I was getting some counseling, right? And one of the things that was shared to me was like, as she is right now, if she never changes, can you still marry her? Can you still love her? If she never changed anything about how she does things right now, would it just drive you fucking nuts? Or could you still marry her? Could you still love her? And man, like, that's a deep question. But it's a real ass question, and this, because like, I'm not saying that a woman can't change, but this is how hard change generally is. Look how hard it changes for you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can't hold women in most cases, which is why what I find to be very important is that we can't hold women at a higher standard than we hold ourselves. So if you're not that evolutionary changing type of person, which it sounds like you are, right? You can't expect that from somebody else. And then the thing about it is, once you put that to work for yourself, it becomes obvious to the woman. Doesn't mean that she gonna follow though, and doesn't mean that she gonna change. Like, say, for example, I got a lady who, she changes her mind like the fucking weather. You get what I'm saying? And all I do is just make sure that I don't depend on nothing that she's gonna change her mind on. Plain and simple. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. Like, that's how I look at it. Like, I'm not gonna put myself in any particular position, you know what I'm saying, with you, that relies on you changing your mind. So as long as I'm leading the ship, I don't get to really suffer the consequences of her changing her mind like that. So it's just like, you got, like, does it annoy the hell out of me? Yeah, it wouldn't. Like, I don't like that because I'm like this. But what I've learned also, especially with the coaching that I do, is that you got to learn to love a whole entire person. And most of the times these women and these people are, including ourselves, really don't know who we are. You know what I'm saying? So it's how you going to love somebody when you don't know they don't even know who they are. They can't even say, hey, I'm Joe, I like this, da, da, da. You don't even know what the fuck you like. And then that's the case for a lot of these women. So it's just like, when you get to a high level, you kind of learn how to love everything about this person. So that means you got to learn that person holistically. And then, if she talks like that, she talks funny. If she's like, she comes from, she's a square chick, she doesn't get it. Like, you got to be able to be cool with that without needing her to change too much. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I found a lot of solace in just, leaving my opinion out of it. It was actually like kind of healthy for me. It just let me it allowed me to step back and just see what I'm about to say is actually, really talking to myself. And
Facts.
it's really,
That's
yeah,
game right there.
it's really like a mirror. You holding up a mirror with that person, and then you end up growing just because you held back on that criticism or something like that.
Right. You applied it to yourself.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, in a lot of the work that I do, I always try to remind people, and even, my women, is just like, listen, at any given moment, you think that you want something or you need something, you're not getting it, that other person probably feels the same way too. So really and truly, like, if you just go in and deal with the need on your own, like, you find that it kind of solves the situation a lot easier. You know what I'm saying? Because now you've gone to a space where you can realize that you're not externalizing. You're not expecting somebody to do something that they're not, or be something that they're not. You got to learn how to accept this person as she is, without even if she never changes. And then you also have to put yourself like in the shoes where you're saying, damn, I chose this person. Like, why the hell did I choose her in the first place? You know what I mean? Like there are going to be some drawbacks that come with it, but I like that approach. And I've been in that situation before. I'm just not anymore, Barrett. I tell you that much. Like, I'm not I don't even, the shit that I see, if I see it as a red flag, it's one thing I realize is that I don't want the red flag to be her. I want the red flag to be something that makes sense, even if it's hard. So let's say the red flag is that, she cooks terrible, but the real, that's not a huge red flag. She can learn how to cook better. Like, she can learn how to cook healthier food. You get what I'm saying? The red flag, but a huge red flag is if she doesn't want to. You know what I'm saying? Or if she doesn't cook at all, and you're the type of person that likes a woman who cooks. So like, you got to determine what it is, because some stuff you're going to be able to, to work with somebody, and some stuff you're just not, it's not. Because like, one thing I like to do is, like, I had this woman that I was dating some years back, and I told her, like, you're not fit for me. Like, we're not going to do it, but I like you. I fucks with you, so to speak, in the sense where I like what I would tell her is like, I don't need you to change for me. I don't need you to like do anything different, but just, and I don't want you to change, but the shit's got to end. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, I don't want you to change to keep it going. Nah, babes, I don't want you to sacrifice who you are. Be you, you problematic ass. Do you, somebody's going to like it. You get what I'm saying? If you ain't in a position to change or make modifications that I need, baby, don't do it. Just be you. Somebody's going to like you for you. And I like you, but like, this shit ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? And I was straight about it. She didn't like it because in her head, she felt like she could change. She could modify for me. She could do certain things and I was like, nah, like, you can't. I knew instinctively. So I think that men must have this kind of barometer within, this internal gauge, so to speak, that says, is this even a worthwhile risk? Like, you got to look at it from that point of view. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, is it worth, like, okay, can she really modify these things? Imagine if she came up in a household where a man was beaten or abusive to a woman verbally or physically, and that's an imprint in her mind. So every time you get loud in the house, she goes back to this place where, you know, the man of the house was destructive and tyrannical, and she clutches herself. And you know what I'm saying? Like, if she doesn't heal that, that means you can't even get loud in that house. And you might think to yourself, well, I'll never get loud for that person. No, that's impossible. People be trying to change. If you loud, you loud. If when you get upset, you raise your voice, you know, like it's a matter of why you're getting upset. But the bottom line is you're going to raise your voice. The solution is can't be never to raise your voice because she's traumatized. So it's like these things matter, you know, and that's why you got to look at the whole person before anything else. What's up, Ray, man? Ain't heard for you in a while. We did talk recently. How you doing, Ray? You there? And also, Amina, how are you? You got anything to say today, or are you just listening? Because I know y'all got it muted.
Hey, yeah, I'm just listening in today, man. I got on here late, so I'm absorbing some of the information and some of the knowledge you're dropping, as always. Yeah, I just got in just a little bit late, man. So I didn't catch all of it. So hopefully it'll be a replay for it. Yep.
Okay, how you doing? Everything
doing all right,
good?
brother. Doing all right, yeah.
You working towards what we've discussed?
Definitely working towards that, man. Ran into just a little bit of difficulty, but you know, still progress, man.
Yeah,
still progress.
As long as you can see the progress, bro, it's worth it. You know.
Well, it boils back down to focusing on you and focusing on what you're calling in, what your purpose is, and you know what I'm learning more so not than before is the more you focus on your purpose, you know, the more attractive you become and the more stuff you draw towards you. So
the more attractive you come, definitely. And that's word, you know, like Darren, he's 25 years old and he's got it, to me, he got it made, you know what I'm saying? And like, look at you, you know, we're older and you're even older than me a little bit. But the point is like, you still got to be focused on the same shit. Like imagine, you know, like in 20 years, Duran will be you. You get what I'm saying? Imagine what 20 years of real good focus can do for a man from 25 to 45. You know, please, man, every 45, 48-year-old man that I know, because my brother's 48, they got a whole bunch of regrets of what they didn't do. And now they got to bust their ass harder in the 40s. You know, my dad always, and my mom said, like, you got to bust your ass in your 30s and 40s and 50s, but still, if the sooner you start, the sweeter the rewards are. But the bottom line is you still got to stay focused on the purpose, even if the purpose is evolving, even if it changes.
Definitely true.
Yeah,
Definitely
man. True. That's a good game because it doesn't matter how old you are, like you can always go back to the little building blocks of who you are to just like collect and say, okay, am I in the right space? Yes. Am I doing the right thing? Yes. Am I having, do I have the right people around me? Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, no.
Absolutely.
If it's no, I do something about it. And that's it. And guess what? That's for us. I mean, there's always going to be a no. That's the other thing, right? There's always going to be a no that you're going to have to be working towards, like changing and customizing and be like, fuck, how do I get around this no? You know what I'm saying? How do I get it to this level? How do I get it to that level? That kind of thing. So, you know, that's good, Ray, man. Cause like, it never stops, bro. It never stops. Unless unless your purpose is just this finite thing, you know? And like, everybody's purpose is different and it unfolds different. I think we've discussed that before on our calls, right? You know, like you gotta appreciate how it unfolds for you, because if somebody's purpose is more so getting this big old objective at the end, and that's good enough for them, like they're working hard, then that's good. But then some people is just like, oh, I finished that, celebrate. Oh, I finished this, celebrate. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it changes. You know what I mean? It really, really does change. But at the same time, it's about living in the now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And enjoying it in the now. So like it varies, man. Barrett, so what do you do for a living, or what's your age, if you don't mind me asking?
Yo, I just turned 32.
Okay.
I'm into education. I also coach basketball.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah,
That's what's
yeah.
up.
So I'm glad you brought up Melo. I started watching Melo when he was in Syracuse, so
Boom.
he's always been a great inspiration for me. Um, but yeah, man, I just enjoy basketball a lot, man. I just been coaching for the last like 10 years.
That's what's up. My
started off
brother's the coach.
yeah, I started off volunteering and then just worked my way up. So I'm just continuing to grow in that aspect. Um, when I got into a relationship, I I kind of just couldn't turn it off, like my coaching style, you know what I'm saying? So it almost was a little overbearing to the person that I was with at first. So
Ah,
I made a commitment to like try to tone it down a little bit and only talk like a coach when like when I needed to. And and so yeah, it was just a big adjustment process for me.
that's,
And
don't you think that's a little bit much though? Because like it's not that you don't. I get that you got to have levels to it. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be her daddy, so to speak, right? But but at the same time, if that's your vibe, that's your energy, you get what I'm saying? If it's a part of your energy, it's pretty hard to basically to go over that. But you know, it's like it's a give and take. So what was the end results of trying this approach?
yeah, I found it helpful to just use my coaching style while I'm coaching in my games and at practices. And then when I went home, I just turned it off. I learned how to turn it off. Um, and and even though I couldn't like change my voice or anything like that, it still was kind of a part of me because that's just how I talk. Like
Mm.
I'm a direct person, so I don't really like to beat around the bush a lot. But if I'm with somebody who's more passive about like giving them an approach, then I'm gonna try to like I was saying, like I'm gonna try to like go down to your level and try to meet you where you're at to give them more of a passive approach and adjust because I'm good at adjusting. Like I could adjust, but sometimes you are who you are, and so
Well,
I just use
adjusting is key though.
yeah.
That adjusting is key. And that's what I said earlier, you know, like that you gotta have some kind of adjustments that you're gonna make, even as a man, because I find like a lot of dudes, especially in the manosphere, it's like this, everybody wants to have this lingo where, you know, is just this woman doing all of these things, you know, bending over backwards and making all these changes and requests that you have, and you ain't doing none of that. That's virtually impossible. You gotta you will also have to make changes. So that's good to learn at you know at this age. But shit, that's good to learn at any age because as men, you're gonna have to learn that regardless. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good way to look at it. It's just like how much of your coaching style or coaching personality is who you truly are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and now I had to clear up a lot of things. Like, yo, I had to tell her like I'm not perfect. I'm not trying to say that I'm perfect just because I'm coaching and just because I'm saying this. It's just what I learned, and I'm trying to share it with you. And then if if you have things you want to say to me, like I'm I'm a coach, so I'm able to take it in. So it's not hard for me to understand you or to get you. You know what I'm saying?
I see what you mean.
But if I have something to bring to you, or if I have something to bring to the table, then I'm gonna bring it to you. I'm not gonna hold back and be passive aggressive.
And that's and you know I think that's key, you know, to have that perspective. But you know that perspective gives you makes you a little bit more mature in most cases than the average 32-year-old, especially if you've been coaching young men for the last 10 years. You know, you're still essentially a very young coach.
Yeah,
And so you know, the what you've learned from that, that's a part of what you bring to the table.
yeah,
You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because imagine if you're 32, let's say you're dealing with a lady who's let's say she's 26, right? That's around the age or even younger than some of the kids that you've coached with. They're 26 now. You understand how to get through to their mindset. So like you know what you bring from the coaching is valid. You know, because it's not like you're 45 only coaching people who are 45. You know, it's around your age group. So there's a level of relatability that comes with it. So if a woman has a problem with it, a lot of times it's going to be her ego, her particular ego, because you are a coach. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, let's say, can she take your advice? Can she listen to you? You get what I'm saying? Like, you know, like you may actually know the right way. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But in our situations these days, as men, as you've seen multiple times, right? On many occasions, like when you come a certain kind of way to women, they feel intimidated because they themselves are used to being the ones who are the smarter ones. You know what I'm saying? So like she's used to dealing with guys who are not as understanding or can't communicate as good as you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not like you're trying to be better than her or whatever the case is, or them whenever they come along like that. That's not the point. The point is I have life experience and it counts for something. And bro, it should count for something, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. I believed that for a while. And then it got to a point where I was like, man, I can't F with you because you kind of don't believe in me and you kind of not really following my, you know, like my standard, of which I learned that it's just not even my standard. It's just like general coaching knowledge that is applied to my players that I try to teach to my players.
Right.
So if that's not something that you're down with, then I guess I gotta, you know, either keep it to myself or like keep it stepping and try to find a different person.
Yeah. And you got to be okay with keeping it stepping, bro.
Yeah.
I think, and I think that's major game as well too. Like it's not like your life experience as a man matters. You dig? It matters. Like you know who you are becoming matters. So let's say being a coach is a part of your long-term objective for your life. Let's say that's the case, right? And you would like to see yourself, let's say, become like my brother. He's coached like Pan American leagues. He's FIBA coach. He's worked with NBA coaches, you know, all over the world, actually, you know. So he's a professional coach. So, and I'm not sure if that's what he started out at wanting and desiring from the very get-go. You get what I'm saying? But that was his goal, that was his objective. And he really wanted that. And it comes with a certain level of I guess experience and life experience and maturity to be a coach, man. You can't be out here just arbitrarily telling people. They have to trust you. You have to develop trust. There's various other things. So you're going to learn something from that experience. And you want to be with somebody who understands that he is experienced from doing this, and he does have good communication skills, and he does. And so it may make him seem like whatever, but she's got to respect it.
So you bring up a good point. Like, how often or like why is it that we have to constantly prove our our intelligence to the woman that we're with when she's dealing with us on a day-to-day basis? Isn't she able to understand that already? Why do we have to prove it?
Hey, I wanted to interject, man. I've been hearing you. I've been hearing the constant. I've been hearing the constant theme, and I get exactly what you're talking about, Barrett. Man, you know, women, man, you know, they can't really take when you being corrected. They just want to be the ones corrected.
Yeah.
You know, what they want to be the ones doing the correcting, man. And I agree, man. It's like you gotta. It's like either you walk on eggshells or you just find, or you just leave the situation, man. It's tough, man.
Well, you know, it's what's real about it though, at the end of the day, is that this is a part of how society is. And you know, if you're not rich, right? Because rich and power usually, women usually submit themselves to your wealth and your status and your position. And that has nothing to do with you though, but assumably it does, meaning that you worked hard to put yourself in that position. But if you're not flashy, if you're just intelligent, if you're just wise or whatever the case is, man, if she's not accustomed to that, and if she, it's gonna be a problem. If she's, let's say your college degree is, you don't have a college degree, right? And she does. And in her, and you're this, you know, you're a coach and you've got 10 years worth of experience in there, and you're still young, but you got 10 years worth of experience. And so you bring that to your relationship as well. And then she feels a little off put because you yourself are so mature, you seem so mature. Like, that just says something to you right there. That means that all the men that you talk to on a normal basis are guys that you can't take advice from, guys that can't tell you what to do. So now somebody comes along who's a little bit more wise, a little bit more experienced, and I'm trying to tell you this, that, or the next, or more so just trying to show you how to treat me. You get what I'm saying? Like, show you, because that's really what it is. Like, and I think that a lot of men, they need to be able to really boil it down to that, because you can't be spending too much time just trying to tell women arbitrary shit because they already got so much stuff. It's like, baby, this is how I like to be treated. You know what I'm saying? This is how I like to be spoken to. This is how I, you know, and I can communicate it to you. But not only that, any woman is going to be looking for you to take the lead at some point, some way. So that when you bring your experiences to the table and you find that she's combative against it, or she doesn't want to listen, then yeah, man, that's a sign that that's a nah. She's not used to men who provide this kind of leadership. She's not used to men who communicate like this, and she may be just wanting to give you problems just because of that. You get what I'm saying? And I don't think it's I don't know. I think that we just got to be careful about this. You get what I'm saying? Really do. We really do have to be careful about it, because like, it's not like, you know, it's not about trying to make a woman see. Like, she don't, like, you are who you are. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She got to.
Yeah,
I'm glad you talked about that. Go ahead, man.
for sure. No, I was gonna say the same thing, man. Like, I was actually gonna ask a question, but you answered it before I even thought about it. I
Breaking
come
up,
across,
son.
I kind of prove I gotta have. Can y'all hear me now?
You're still a little choppy, but we're hearing you, but it's a little choppy. Try again.
Man, I don't know what's going on with the service.
That's better.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I was gonna say I come across these situations all the time, especially me, you know, me being a therapist. It's almost like I'm attracted to like those type of things. You know, those are the type of experiences I have.
Yeah, as a therapist, you're
oftentimes,
definitely gonna have them.
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's like but like, I always run into them situations, and oftentimes, right.
We're not
You know what I'm
hearing you at
saying?
all right now, bro.
And oh wow, that's tough.
Yeah.
That is tough, man.
But you know what you know, just the whole thing, you know, like, I don't know, man. I think being a therapist or working with people on a social level, that does definitely bring, you know, some experience to your kind of situation where, you know, it helps you see what's out there to a certain degree. It just depends on the age of the people that you work with. But, you know, a lot of times, you know, we're having these difficulties. You know, that's what we were talking earlier about, you know, Kevin Samuels and the fact that, you know, these things need to be said. We're having these difficulties. And you guys, you know, at 25, you know, that's an age where a lot of guys, like at 25, like, I had an idea of settling down for sure. I had an idea of settling down. I had an idea of what I wanted in an ultimate kind of relationship, but wasn't sure that I was, wasn't sure that that situation that I was in at the time was going to be it. But, just wanted to create a lifestyle where I can go towards that. But 25 is just still young, still a lot to prove to yourself. You get what I'm saying? And so, but for you, once you've already got these goals that you've already like reached for yourself, that's a level of accomplishment right there that you could be proud of, and you bring that into the situation or relationship. But it still all goes back down to this, as much as you possibly can, a really, really deep understanding of yourself that you can bring forth to the other person. You get what I'm saying? So you know who you are, and they know who you are for real too. What's going on, S. Jr.? What's going on, everybody on Instagram out there? Appreciate y'all for catching me. I hope y'all can hear everybody else. We're having a community support live today. Just wanted to do some of these a little bit more often, be on here for a little while longer. If you want to join the Zoom chat and you're catching me on IG right now, go ahead and in the link in the bio, you can join in on the call and ask questions or whatever. But see you over there, Esther. I always seem to self-sabotage myself in relationships. I'm so depressed because I lost it. Self-sabotage. You know what I'm saying? Like, the whole idea of self-sabotage means that you got to work on yourself. You got to work on yourself. If you know that's you doing the sabotaging, you definitely got to work on yourself, because like, being you, and I know that it might hurt to self-sabotage and lose the person, right? And the loss of the person, or the loss of what not having that relationship anymore, might sting a little bit too. But like, if you know that you got a problem, right, and you're the one who started, who's responsible for really fixing that problem. So like, yeah, you're gonna like the chick and you're gonna still want to be with her or whatever the case is, but the focal point should definitely be on you, S. Jr. You know what I'm saying? And in due time you'll get it out, because a lot of times also when a man feels like, I'm mad I lost her or whatever the case is, you're looking at you're like, damn, I could have done this better, if I was just this, and if I was just that, and if I was just like, gosh, I need to call and apologize to her. Oh, I ain't deal with that right. You know what I mean? Like that kind of vibe, like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's definitely not worth calling back. It's definitely not worth trying to get the person back. It was worth it is to literally be focused on the problem, the problem that you're having. You know what I'm saying? Why are you self-sabotaging? What kind of trauma is that stemming from? Is it a confusion of your life's purpose? Is it confusion of who you are? You get what I'm saying? Like, are you on the right purpose? Are you listening to people or taking advice from people who essentially shouldn't be advising you? You get what I'm saying? Like, there could be a lot of reasons why a man self-sabotages, but the truth is, man, I don't care who you are, there's a little self-sabotaging in all of us. You know what I mean? And that could be inaction, wrong action, bad or wrong expectations, a variety of shit that, quite frankly, turns into some self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is knowing you got trauma from your mama and your daddy and all of these different people, but you're looking for a relationship where somebody tiptoes around, where you tiptoe around the facts. So it's not that, yeah, there'll be a replay. There'll be a replay. I just send out a link for that. A lot of people do that. You got issues. You most of the problems that you have stemming from your mom, your dad, your uncle, or whatever, or some sexual trauma, whatever the case is. But instead of really working to heal that trauma, you're looking for the other person to essentially make it better for you. I remember I was in a situation where a young lady was like, oh, because of all these women you got, I'm like, first of all, I don't got that much women. And being liked don't mean that you got the women. That's why I used to tell her, but she's like, because of that, I'm insecure. And I was stupid. This is a long time ago. So I bought some of that shit. I was like, all right, let me make sure, say these hoes can't reach me, so to speak. Like, clean it up or whatever the case is. But then when I tried to do that, I was just like, well, ain't nothing to clean up. Like she just trying to do some preventative care. She trying to prevent anything from happening, because she's trying to control the situation. But later on, I learned like, yo, shorty has some real serious insecurities that stemmed like 15 years beyond me. You get what I'm saying? So she telling me all of this shit, like, and I'm about to be considerate of you because you got issues. Nah, you need to go fucking heal. You need to go deal with what you got to deal with instead of making demands. Go heal. And that's what a lot of us as men just really need to do. We need to literally make ourselves responsible for that healing that we got to do, and not be really so concerned about the loss of the women, because the gain of the right kind of woman, and more so the gain of your purpose, the gain of the rewards of being focused on your life's purpose, man, those gains are so major. They're so major, and they almost always lead to gains in the right woman. They always do. So it's just like, it's, for every young man, depending on the age, and it ain't just young men, but the investment that you make in making sure that you're on the right path for your life. Trust me, man, you may still have flaws and issues and all kind of things, just like every other human being. But one thing's for sure is that your purpose, why you're here, you know what I'm saying, being confident in yourself, knowing who you are, that ain't gonna be one of them. Trust me, life got a lot of issues that it's already given to us that we have to deal with. I get that. So, the whole movement that I've been on for all these years was always really about, finding your life's purpose. And so that way, that's not one of them, because we got enough fucking problems, especially as men. We live in like the most man-hating culture in the world. Like, no matter how, people try to spin it, like there's some things in this world as we know it that are designed specifically, you know what I'm saying, to hinder or to harm men. Like, where else is it like this? You know what I'm saying? We got so many odds against us. So we have to bounce back from so many different things. So, not knowing your purpose is generally the biggest one that we got to bounce back from. Real talk. It's usually the biggest one that we got to bounce back. So if you can like really get defined on it and not make that, and make sure that that's not an issue that you have to worry about, because like any man who literally goes into these relationships with these women without a concrete, real solid concept of his life's purpose, the shit just doesn't, it's just not that successful. It's just not. Like, there's just leeway within it that just makes you realize that, if you're not satisfied with yourself, now there's levels to that, right? Because some of us should be satisfied. Some of us are making actual goals, meeting goals, and you should be happy with where you are. You get what I'm saying? But some of us aren't, because they're not anywhere. Like, so if you're not satisfied because you really haven't done the work, that's different. But if you've done the work and you want more, you need to be happy for what you have, and you need to give yourself your mark and those type of things, because it's important in your self-confidence. Because if you're, it's like I've been in this situation where I'm making way more money than she's ever made in her whole fucking life, but because I'm not at the goal that I want to be at, I'm not really appreciative of what I got. You can't be like that, because that drops your value in some ways. You get what I'm saying? So, but if you know that you're not where you want to be because you haven't put in the work, then that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. Doesn't mean that it makes you perfect in relationships. It doesn't, bro, but it makes you there. You are so right. I'm just so lost. Purpose is something I don't have. Thought my purpose was to love. Now it's, oh man, from the get-go, man, from I hope you read my book, bro. Hope you got to read my book if you haven't, bro. From the get-go, since I started doing this 5 years ago, I had a lot of people would question me, and it's not a question, but everybody's entitled to believe what they want to believe about themselves, and that's why I do the coaching that I do, the metaphysical coaching. You can see that S. Jr. in my bio as well. It's based on your birth data, it's based on human design, but trust me, you ain't gonna be confused about your life's purpose after these sessions. That's for sure. You ain't gonna be lost anymore. You might be lost because you not taking action, but that's the type of work that I do. But in a nutshell, that's the thing. you get rid of this confusion about where you are, what you're supposed to do, who you are, and all that type of stuff. Once you get rid of that, like, I'm not saying it's smooth sailing, but it's a better freaking ocean to navigate. You know what I'm saying? You don't want smooth sailing because you don't ever become a skilled sailor, you know what I'm saying, or a skilled captain. Is, you know, you want some challenges in your life, but the point is not knowing yourself, not feeling good about who you are, not feeling good about where you are. That's one that sometimes it's such a heavy kind of feeling that it'll depress everything else. You get what I'm saying? It'll make everything else a lot more complicated than it needs to be, a lot harder than it needs to be, a lot more difficult, you know, and you'll lose your motivation. That's not what you need in your life. And the truth is, man, for most men, it takes a good 45 years to really be confident about it. And that 45 years is pending on, let's say you actually started young. So if you started on your life's purpose, if you started sniffing around at that bitch, let's say around 18, 19, 20, 21, maybe even 22, if you started sniffing around it at a younger age, you know, you'd still be surprised that at 40, you haven't found it yet. You know, it depends, but you're closer and you're happier because you were on the path of your purpose. You were closer to it. And it just lead to a happier life. It just, you know, you're happier with the things that you do in that moment, even if this is not it. You know, for me, like, you know, I'm not even 40 yet, and I've had like 2-3 different legitimate, many careers based off businesses that I've built. And some people would say, oh, if you had stuck to this, if you had stuck to that, you could do this or you could do that. Like, I did what I wanted to do. I'm happy. You get what I'm saying? Like, sometimes starting over new is what you need to do. And sometimes what you've got going right now is exactly what you need to do. But when it's exactly what you need to do, like if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, especially in this particular moment, man, you got to be happy about that shit. You got to give yourself your mark. You know what I'm saying? Not that you got to be satisfied, but you got to give yourself your mark. What y'all got to say about that, Barrett, Darren, and Ray? Y'all got anything on that?
Yeah, I wanted to interject, man. But first, I want to check if you all can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
For sure,
it sounds much better.
You know, for sure. I don't know what's going on, you know, in this man, my service is terrible out here in Tennessee. But
okay.
But man, like, man, I just want to, you know, what you just said, man. You hit it was spot on, man. About like, it's like, you know, you were saying how you can know what you want and not do it, and then, you know, you have, you know, or you can like be working towards it and still not be satisfied, man. I agree, man, because I see that in myself countless times, man. You know, I'm like, okay, yeah, I got my 2 degrees, man, but I'm still not where I want to be, and,
Right.
you know, I don't really find no happiness, you know, in not being what I want to be. You know what I'm saying? And it definitely does, you know, take, you know, it's definitely a low blow to my self-esteem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but are you giving yourself your mark though? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's something. You know, I've been kind of, you know, that's been in the works lately. But you know, when you said it right there, that was like, yeah, it's something I need to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to, like, you know, like you got men who judge themselves for position, status, money, and sex, or women. Like, those are usually the go ahead and get that for me, Junior, and be sure to leave a review as well too. I appreciate that, bro. On Amazon, it's available. But out of these different things, right? If you're not getting it, you're not satisfied. So you kind of got to understand your own validation means. Like say for me, like, I'm happy with where I'm at mature wise. I'm happy where I'm at life experience wise. I'm happy with what I have to offer as far as women. But I don't know if I'll ever be happy with, let's say, money and success, and, you know, but it's not that I don't know. It's just like I have this hunger for more, just like you do. But I still have to be like, yo, you doing good? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you bring value. Like, don't diminish yourself to a number. Don't diminish yourself to a status. Don't diminish yourself to a type of woman. You get what I'm saying? Like especially if you got some of what you've been working for. Like you can't like, you know, we do this all the time as men. We really do. You know, what you got to say, Ray?
I think that can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
I think that you hit some stuff dead on the head. I think the biggest challenge is that we're always in a relay race against everyone else. I think in the day of social
Facts.
media, we're always looking at someone on social media. We're looking at the successes on social media. And in some ways it's a help, some ways it's a hindrance. I
Right.
think it's easy to be visual about our goals when we see other people possess them, but we also got to realize most of the people on social media are flossing.
Facts.
Flossing and they don't really have it. Anybody can take a camera angle, anybody can rent an Airbnb, anyone can make themselves look more successful than they really are. And so that creates a problem because in this day and age, as men, we're taught to be super successful. We have to have
Right.
all these things. We have to have the money, we have to have the vehicle, we have to have the power, we have to have the status, we have to have the women on our arm or the women chasing us. And it becomes a never-ending cycle or loop.
Yes.
I think the thing that we should be taught that we're not taught at an early age is what is your purpose?
Yeah.
And I think that if I understood my purpose at an early age, that changes the way you play the game because everything you go after now is more purpose related
Right.
than just flossing related or social media related or status related. Knowing my purpose has helped me, I would say, tremendously as far as going after goals and dreams at this point in time, because I got something to weigh it out against. I can see whether or not it's taking me closer towards my purpose or is it hindering me or pulling me away from my purpose,
Right.
but there's still always that battle because of the media. The media sensationalizes what it takes to be successful. And let's be real, we live in a day and age where people are famous for nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
People are now becoming famous just for being influential, but being even influential about nothing. We got people that are famous because they play video games and not even really good at video games. They just got on there and entertained people and they got a huge
Right.
following, right? We got people
Right.
that look cute or got a nice little body, but don't really contribute anything to society and they become famous. So this day and age, it's shifted. I'm 45. So
Right.
I'm used to people being famous because they actually carry weight and bring value to the table or teach somebody something. Nowadays, if you look cute enough, you can amass a following and talk about nothing every single day, but still be considered an influencer. So I think it's a little bit more difficult nowadays. I think it's a little bit harder for men to stay focused and on track, but I think that's also why iron sharpens iron. That's why you have to program yourself to hang around other sharp brothers. You can't, in this
Facts.
day and age, you can't afford to just live your life by default versus design.
Facts. Like default ain't cracking. It's not cracking the top 10. It's not it's not gonna get you to your greatest because the default, like you said, you're right. Like that's all it takes to be famous. It look good.
Yeah.
That's the real golden thing. Now, of course, it should be provide value, and it's really not based on that. So, sometimes you see some of these look good guys who provide value and you see the success there, but the looking good part is a part of the show. It's a part of the act. And like you say, they put on, that could be an Airbnb, that could be a rental, but it doesn't matter because that's what gets the attention of people. And whether a man, even though everybody should know that that's not what makes you a man, damn, it's really freaking hard to feel like the man when you're broke. It's really freaking hard when you don't look as good as the next guy, and so our eyes have been conditioned, okay, when I come on here, I'm gonna look good, I'm gonna have this, I'm gonna show the background of my mansion. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna walk outside so you can see the Bentleys. You know what I'm saying? Like even a picture next to them. Is a clout, kind of thing, and everybody's looking for that. So yeah, you're right, and men are not real about it. Like we are heavily influenced by this shit. Like I don't care what nobody says. Like you want it, you want some of that, and you want to feel that level of validation that comes with having all those things you mentioned: the car, the house, the girl, the education, the job, the business. We want it all at once, and then boom, somebody's gonna love me.
Mm.
And of course, right? Whenever we try it that way, does it ever work? No.
No, it doesn't. I think part of the problem is, we have a generation of women where they're taught that's what a real man is.
Yeah.
So you got a generation of women that are chasing guys based on whether or not they check off all those boxes.
Yep. And that's what we were talking about earlier before you got on the call, because we were, somebody was mentioning Kevin Samuels and the need to to say these things or to articulate these things about how the dynamics are, basically pointing out some of the things that women are doing. But the bottom line is what we were saying is that now the women are flocking to his show, and they're learning this stuff, right? They're learning this stuff about themselves simultaneously, but also trying to decipher or get a barometer of what a high value man is, and so that way they can edge it out. And quite frankly, a lot of the women, right, and unfortunately, they are here trying to make high value men with the information that they're getting from YouTube, from all these other guys. So because they're not even actually attracting high value men, and then they look and they got other women out there who teach in hypergamous ways. And so they go and say, okay, if I dress like this and I hang out at this particular place, I'm going to get a guy that drives this kind of car, has this kind of job or whatever the case is. And I'm going to do these different things. I'm going to smile and laugh. I'm going to make eye contact with him. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to wear this kind of dress. I'm going to say, no, she's going to fake it. You know what I'm saying? And get the ideal man that does this or can pay or who could foot the bill or whatever thing. And they just doing the same shit that we're doing. They're just doing the same stuff that the men are doing, but they're studying the game so that way they can overcome the objections. And this is why, in all of my work, especially when it comes to male-female relations, like the struggle of finding your purpose always leads to you discovering your bullshit. And once you can discover your bullshit definitively, for sure, like knowing that you're full of shit in these particular areas, then nobody squeaks past you. Like you could tell when she full of shit too. You could tell when she only decided that she was gonna cook, clean, and fuck consistently for those first 3 or 4 months. But other than that, she doesn't do any of those things consistently. Like if you know your own BS, you'll be able to determine that person's BS to understand what's real from what's fake, because that's what a lot of us are used to. We're used to, even men ourselves, we're used to showing out, getting flowers, you get what I'm saying, but not getting flowers no more, not being able to keep up with a consistency level, just like the women. You get what I'm saying? I think it's just worse these days when you're faking it to make it, especially on the women's behalf, and they're going to be faking it to essentially upgrade. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that 55,000 a year guy. I need to get me a six-figure guy. You know what I'm saying? And when they start faking it to jump up, that's when I feel like that the game really, takes a lot of hits and becomes a pretty damaging situation where, that the influence is terrible, bro. The influence is terrible. I posted the other day just here on Instagram, just talking about how, a woman in some cases, you're gonna know the difference between whether she's a keeper or not based on how supportive she is of you. Like if that support only lasts 15 minutes, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like I know some men are just dying to have some support from women, though. I do understand that. And so those 15 minutes of support that she gives you feels really, really good, because you've only had 5 minutes total before of support from women. And I get it. But one realized that she's like, yeah, if I could last 15 minutes, that's longer than all these other broads. And he should be happy and satisfied, you know what I'm saying? And I should be able to roll peacefully and not have to change or mature or evolve in this relationship, none whatsoever. You get what I'm saying? And that's the okie doke, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I really do believe that that's just the straight up okie doke. And a lot of guys sexually, they fall for it. But like I said, the women fall for it too. What's up?
Speaking of like okie doke, man, I fall victim to the okie doke just because, or you don't fall victim to the okie doke, it's just you become skeptical of falling victim to the okie doke. So
That's true.
you get used to like not believing her or not taking her serious about what she's saying or seeing right through her because you know like her patterns. So then sometimes it could work as a default and not really and you should be believing her or like you should be taking her seriously, but then how do you like turn that switch on to just start trusting women?
Mm, mm, mm. Trust yourself, bro. I don't know about trusting no. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't think that there's a need for a man to trust a woman until he trusts himself and until he has gotten to this point in his life where he trusts the work. You get what I'm saying? So therefore, example, right? Let's say you the type of dude, you came up in a family where you eat dinner with your family every night. And I know that's probably rare for a lot of people, but you know, I remember growing up and boring ass dinners with my daddy asking me questions all goddamn, you know what I'm saying? But I've gotten older and I now do the same thing. So, you know, if you know that these are the things that you like to do, let's say that or something else that's customary or ritual for you, and you see that she's consistent in meeting you in that space. So let's say, you know, whatever she does, she has dinner ready all the time because that's something that you value the time. Or let's say whatever she does, she however busy she is, she keeps the house clean. How busy she is, she talks to you. Like that's what you really run off. You run off what she does, not what she says she's gonna do. And so, like, you know, sometimes, like I said, like in the advanced stuff, is that you're learning somebody's background, and you're learning somebody's background so you can get a better understanding of what to expect from them. So sometimes you could just deduce what you're gonna get from the background. But that's not always the case. There's always this 5% chance, you know, that's a very large amount, right? No, it's not. That the person you meet can adjust, change, and come up to a certain, you know, level with you and grow with you. But I you know, maybe it's larger than 5%, but it's really not that big of a space. Most of the times, you know, people are maxed out where you meet them at. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not being, it's not about being a doomsayer type of person when it comes to women or whatever the case is. But like, you only learn how to trust others by trusting yourself, because at the end of the day, you're not going to let somebody else's promise lead you astray or make you feel some form of comfort when you know that when it's not real. So it's like, you know, what you're saying pertains to the fact that we, especially in the last few years, we've broadcasted in the manosphere, it's all over. Like, men are pointing a light at everything that we seem to be typical, you know, dysfunctional patterns, not just in women, even though we're pointing them out at women, but in society right now, and how women are responding. So now you know this shit. Now you understand that if she's doing this type of stuff and this type of stuff, you know, you got a red flag meter on that you got the consciousness now. But 5-10 years ago, the conscious, you still gonna fall for that okie doke because you don't know. So it's like the trust starts with yourself, you know what I mean? And then you trust what she does. You get what I'm saying? Because like I said, it's very rare that you're gonna find a woman who, when you meet her, let's say she's at 80% of where she needs to be. 80% is a lot. So let's say let's be realistic. You meet her, she's about 75% where she wants to be. If she's gonna come up 10 percentage points with you, man, you gotta be pretty damn good, bro. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be very mature. You got to have, you know, great communication skills. And this ain't got nothing to do with your status or what you have. You got to have, you know, good communication skills. You got to be able to tell moods. You got to be able to, you know, you got to be able to do a lot of different things so that way you can actually help her grow with you. You get what I'm saying? And you also have to literally be equipped with the skills to do that, because I say this all the time, like everybody ain't got it. Sometimes, that's why I said, so for a lot of guys, Like, fuck all the searching and looking. Sometimes you just have to wait till you get where you need to get and get what you get. You get what I'm saying? Instead of trying to work somebody. Sometimes if you're in a position where you need to do some more work with yourself, if you're not skilled enough to have a woman with you on that process, it's going to be a big ass distraction, become a big ass distraction, because she may not know how to help you. And what if you don't know how to show her how to help you? And then what if you know how to show her how to help you? You said, babes, I need you to do this, that, and that, and she doesn't. You get what I'm saying? That's gonna come back on your leadership skills to a certain degree too, and whether or not you're gonna accept that. But you know, like it's a pretty standardized issue. It's no need to arbitrarily trust, you know, a woman until a woman shows you that she's really, really serious, and she doesn't show you that until she can grow with you. You get what I'm saying? Because guess what? She's had other guys. She's had most of the times, unless you're getting a virgin, which is rare, you know, she's had other guys. She's had other heartbreaks. She's had sex before, probably with a few guys before. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're not bringing that much new to the table except for you. You get what I'm saying? So like, are you trying to get leftovers of what other men have had? Or are you trying to let her know this is how it goes in Barrett land? You get what I'm saying? Like in Barrett, and if she's with it, she's with it. But she may even say that she's with it. And I'm Barrett Land's #1 fan. But how long is that gonna last? Like, are you gonna come to every pep rally? You get what I'm saying? Like, are you really? Are you gonna talk about it to your friends? Are you gonna let people know? Like, are you really? Or is this what you're doing to show me that you like me, or to get my attention in the beginning? You get what I'm saying? So like, you trust the work, bro. You trust the consistency. Consistency is the only thing that people trust. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And other than that, trust yourself. Because if you trust yourself, then you're going to go after what you want, and not just what you want. You're going to have a better idea of what you need. And so therefore, sometimes when you get what you want, or when you seem to be getting what you want, and you realize, oh shit, might not be exactly what I need. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's what I want. Yeah, she looked good and I like her, and she, you know, but it might not be exactly what I need. You know, so being able to be at a point in your life where you're clear on that, where you have ultimate clarity on this, it just sets the tone. It sets the tones on a major level. It sets the tone for who's coming, who's going. It sets the tone. And then you're not out here just, because that's the thing. You don't want to be distrusted. I get what you say. Like, there's something off about not trusting a woman, right? Yeah, like, because like, you got to do, especially if you're a family type of guy, especially if you like, my daddy kind of gave me this go get married type of thing. You know what I mean? And I got to deprogram myself and realize that this whole go get married stuff that he's trying to tell me is based on some 60s shit. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but he, from an old point of view, he ain't gonna marry none of these people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Born in the 80s and the 70s. No, he's not. My dad born in the 40s. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a different perspective, but nonetheless, when you have that consciousness, you know, you kind of gotta, you know, you want something that you could relate to, and somebody who's willing to sign up for what you're signing up for who you are, willing to take that ride with you, come hook or crook. You know what I'm saying? Come hit or miss. You know, she's there with you. Like, when you got to rebuild, if you got to rebuild, you get what I'm saying? But it's not really advised that you expect that. So
you gotta lower your expectations sometimes, and just keep your expectations at a minimum, because you know, you can't really make anybody do anything, you know, that they're not like, if like, basically you can't expect a carbon copy of yourself and other people, thinking that, you know, people are going to do things the way that you do things. So you can't have those type of expectations. And that's what I learned, that, you know, you just gotta focus on yourself, and leave whatever up to them, because they're, at the end of the day, the other person is in control of their own life and their own action.
Facts. Yeah. And if you can't love them for who they are, with all their flaws anyways, they're likely not for you. Just like I said earlier, like, trust me, like, if you like her a lot, you could like her off natural vibes, natural radiance, or you could like her off potential. Now, you don't want to like her as much. I want to like her more off natural vibes than I want to like her off potential. Because that means that there's a lot at stake if she doesn't meet that potential. Like if she doesn't meet that potential that I see in her, or even that she sees in herself, like like that may not lead to a good relationship with you. So it's good to just like her as she is. You know what I'm saying? And be okay with like accepting her as she is without putting any other expectations on her to be somebody that she's not. And that's the best thing that you could do for a woman. But guess what? Most women these days, they want to be something they're not. So even to be a man who loves a woman for who she is going to be some rare fire field. You get what I'm saying? Like, cause that ain't natural. Cause not that it's not natural, it should be natural, but like we're saying, a lot of men, we suppose things. We suppose that she's supposed to cook. We suppose that she's supposed to clean. We suppose that she's supposed to talk to you like this, do this, that. You know what I'm saying? We suppose a lot of shit. But what if she's supposing it too and not actually being herself? Like, yeah, and it definitely happens like that. So it's like, it's better to just do the math. You do all the courting work before you get too intricately woven into her fabric. You get what I'm saying? You do all the courting work and you say, okay, she comes from here, comes from that, this from that. This, I could live with that. I like her. But if you, but if there's a but or if or asterisk, you might have a problem. Because there's always going to be this realistic aspect that this person may not be ready to come up to meet you at your butt or meet you at your asterisk, and it might just be too much to ask. Because like when women out here are looking for men to love them, when we don't know our purpose, they don't understand that that's just too much to ask. But we can give them some sexual love, we can give them some affection, we can give some attention. You know, so we can give them some validation depending on who you are. But without, if you're not knowing who you are and you're not sure about who you are, and you got some confusion and you got some doubt within that, like, trust me, the love that you think you're giving to these women, that it ain't real, because you don't love yourself enough. You know, not that you don't love yourself, you know, but in many cases, men don't love themselves because you're not satisfied with who you are. So that's why I was saying, giving yourself your mark for where you are, Daron, is like, you know what I'm saying? Okay, I'm 25 and I've done this, and that. I'm not satisfied, but I'm happy. I'm happy with what I've done, and I can learn to be happy with it, and I could be, you know, and I could be thankful for it as well too, and be grateful for it. And that's love. That's self-love. You know what I'm saying? Giving yourself your mark is self-love. And that's something like, you know, I got to be talking to myself about that sometimes, because constantly people like myself and some of you guys are constantly putting pressure on yourself to go to the next level. It's almost like you don't even deserve your own love until you get to the next level. Nah, bro, you deserve your love. You deserve your love all the fucking time. You get what I'm saying? And the reason why you feel like you don't deserve his love is because of what I've been saying, like this whole misandrous world that we live in. Everybody hates you. And they're trying to convince you to hate your damn self too. And for the most part, we've done that by measuring ourselves up to these people, this job, this position, this car. You know what I'm saying? That's not love. You know what I'm saying? That's judgment. And that's the seeking of validation on many levels. It's not authentic. And eventually, even if you're a good dude making good money, right? Doing what you're supposed to do, but not loving yourself, woman comes along and will exploit that. Will fucking exploit that, especially if she doesn't understand love herself. She don't know what the fuck love is. She will exploit your lack of self-love. That's key. So give yourself your mark as a form of love.
So I got a question for you, man. You said that. Actually, I got a couple questions. Number one, what do you feel is the best way to show how to love yourself? I think you got a lot of us men that never learned how to properly love ourselves, right? We got into that relationship at an early age. We got that one damaged woman that damaged us in return. And, you know, we put everything into trying to fix that situation. You
Right.
know, so I think you got a lot of us out there that's walking around damaged. We haven't healed. We don't understand what the concept is of loving ourselves. We've been taught that from watching all these media shows and watching all these love romantic movies that the guy's supposed to make a total ass and fool out himself to
Yeah.
please the woman. And of course, that don't inspire alpha. That gives beta vibes, right?
Facts.
So number one, what do you feel is the best way for a man to learn how to love himself? And then number two, you said something earlier that revolved around the concept of bullshit, which is, I think you said something along the lines of you got to be able to call yourself out on your own bullshit, and calling yourself out on your own bullshit, you'll be able to see other people's bullshit. What's the easiest way to start that process? Because sometimes for many of us, we're our own worst critic.
Right.
So oftentimes we don't want to look in the mirror and say, man, this is my issue. These are my flaws. These are my challenges. These are our setbacks. You know, for many of us, it's easier for us to try to smooth over some of the shit we know we do is wrong. What's the easiest way to address and say, hey, I know I'm gonna fuck up here. I'm gonna fuck up here. I'm gonna fuck up here. And then once you identify those fuck ups, what's the challenge with it? Do you embrace them? Do you try to remove them? Or, you know, what do you do with the fuck ups?
I feel like with the fuck ups and the BS is that it's two things. You got to embrace who you truly are. And if you fuck up, you fuck up. You get what I'm saying? Because we do have some people who are lesser fuck ups. I'm not one of them. I've made a lot of fuck ups myself. So like, I don't make excuses for my fuck ups. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, sometimes you have to be more inspired by your fuck ups. So let's say, for example, you know what I'm saying? Like one of your fuck ups is, you know, you get you married the wrong person. You get what I'm saying? So to speak.
Okay.
And you didn't even know it was a fuck up until you realized that, like you said, you were going after something superficial during that whole entire time, right? And so now, right, how do you fix that fuck up? Is it because like you said, we're in the heat of the trauma after you done got in the relationship and now you're trauma bonded, right? So the way to fix that fuck up, even the results of the relationship, is to stop fucking up. And to stop fucking up means that where were you superficial? You get what I'm saying? Where were you not authentic to yourself? Did inauthenticity, is that the source of it? Or is it laziness? Or is it lack of action? Or is it, you know, there's always going to be something that defined your life before you met her. That's one of the real shits right there. You get what I'm saying? Always going to be a stage that you're in when you met her that kind of determines where you're going. She's just sometimes along for the ride, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you're young, because she's just as dumb as you are. So it's like, for me, let's say if I was in a marriage, right? And I cheated and I considered that a fuck up. To fix that fuck up, I got to stop cheating. You know what I'm saying? And then now think about it. If I'm now I got to be literally looking at myself like, how can I stop cheating? Like, damn, maybe I married, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I married a fat bitch and I thought I was going to be happy with her because she has a great personality, but damn, I like ones with nice curves and slimmer thighs and nice flat stomachs. But you were like, okay, she's nice and she's supportive, and you needed that niceness and that supportiveness, but now you realize you also need that hot, spicy, you know what I'm saying, thing. And it's like, you were trying to go without it for a little while. So now where's the fuck up? The fuck up is that you thought that you only needed one thing. You need both. So now you got to stop trying to settle for, you know, and try to get everything that you want. Because if you don't, every single time you settle or F up, right? It means that the F up is essentially you lying to yourself. That's really where it starts. The F up is it. And so like, you got to begin to start telling you the truth first, and then you got to begin to start doing. You get what I'm saying? It's one thing if you're trying, and you're not hitting the mark, and you just got to keep trying, and you got to keep trying and keep trying again until you get it. But the truth is, in a relationship, how long is that going to last? You know what I'm saying? How long are you going to be in a happy relationship where you can't make her happy, or you're not doing the things? It's not going to last very long if you can't get right. So it's like,
Sure.
moving past the so-called screw up or the mistakes that you made just really revolves around, because age for a man is a big deal in your screw ups, because, you just not, when you get to a certain level, you're not going to make certain screw ups no more.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not going to get anybody pregnant who I don't hardly know anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to do better courting situation. Like, that's my fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I'm not going to assume that, or I'm not going to have, these certain kind of relationships, the shit that just did not work for me very well, I'm just not going to do it anymore. But I think what you're saying also was that it hints to the fact that sometimes we have like this habitual pattern of doing the thing. So it's like, it becomes like that motivational speaker kind of energy where you got to be like, you really do have to fix this, because you're going after low hanging fruit and you got to climb the tree higher. So maybe your F up has to do with the fact that you're just always going with the low hanging, more convenient fruit. But I feel like in most cases, when a man gets out of a situation, it becomes pretty explainable what the F up is. And he can literally, literally just not do that shit anymore. But if his confidence is shot, if he's not working towards his life purpose, which is often the case, you know what I mean? Like, he will, in many cases, backslide. You know what I'm saying? He will. And what was the first question again? Just jog my memory.
So the second question was about what you said earlier about the fuck up. The first question, I forgot now, man. You don't went so deep into deep territory, man. Gee, yeah, you don't went so deep into territory. I think was the first question. The first question, man.
You remember, Duran?
Was a good one too.
You remember what it was, Duran?
No, I can't recall it right now.
Oh man, I'm about to play around the memory jog, see if it popped back up again. I think the first question was,
it had to do with women.
It had to do with women.
Yeah, it was.
But man,
it was a couple of them, man. I can't recall the first one though.
My bad.
Yeah, no. You good, man. It'll come to me. I mean, it's just you dropping some nuggets of wisdom. I think not only I needed to hear, but I think a lot of people needed to hear, because, like I said, it's easy to get distracted in this day and age, man. It's easy to get pulled off the beaten pathway in this day and age, and I think that when you made the comment about calling yourself out on your own bullshit, so that way you can identify other bullshit, there are a lot of women out there, man, that take advantage of it. There's a lot of women that have been around the block a couple times,
for sure.
So they get smarter and wiser with every person they date. They learn from every person they date, and oftentimes, man, they're not upfront and forthcoming about where they've been, what they know, what they dealt with, but they'll use that to their advantage as they move forward into new territory. So a lot of times, man, they can find that man that's been wounded. They can figure out what that wound is. They can figure out whether that man's been healed or not. They can tell whether or not that man, what the issues are. And if I know what your weak point is, then that's what I'll anchor into, man. It's almost like a pimp out there with a female where, if I know you got love issues and daddy issues, I'll play that daddy figure for you, but then I'll pull that love away. And now you find yourself fighting to get that validation back. So I'll give you a little bit of validation, but I'll yank that validation back. And that creates that trauma brain, that trauma bomb. But there's a lot of women out there do the same thing, where no matter what that guy do, you never gonna be good enough. So you always striving to hit another bar of excellence, only to get kind of it's good. You could do better, but not along the lines of where you trying to build a person up. It's almost like, man, what you doing ain't good enough. I've seen a lot of women out there play that game where they've been around the block a couple times, man. So they know how to trauma bond that guy, because that guy's looking for that validation from that woman. And they know how to play that game. That guy will never be good enough, but will also not know how to escape that cycle.
Right. And the thing about that is that we as men have been already conditioned to accept this kind of treatment from the world. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So like the world is already telling you, prove yourself, man. And if you're black or brown, it means that you got to prove yourself even more. And that's how we feel, even if we want to, hopscotch around that. You get what I'm saying? So now you have this, and now she's saying, okay, well, it ain't this, that. Listen, man, I've seen that, and I've actually seen that in old people. You get what I'm saying? I've seen that in older people, like my previous generation. I've seen some of that along the line, and I've seen that a man can literally shrink up to, because he doesn't feel as validated as he needs to feel in his relationship. And the real issue, and then people blame the woman, right? Which in some cases, they blame the woman because they say she's not being supportive. She is being manipulative. She is running game. She is doing some pimping. But the bottom line is, at the end of the day, right? It's you who don't have the value of yourself firmly intact. So that way, that, because that's one of my games, like the games that got ran on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you gonna let's say the guy who took a girl out of wherever she was, she ain't had nowhere to live. You get what I'm saying? And she ain't had a car. And you gave her access to your shit, gave her all your resources, and all of a sudden she telling you, but you're not doing good enough. You're not doing good enough. She's trying to manage you. When, you know what I'm saying? Like, how many times have you heard stories like that from men and women too, but more so men? And then they're suffering from validation. Because why? Because he's thinking in himself, oh, this is the very least that I could do. But I'm a man. I'm supposed to be able to do way more than that for you. I'm supposed to buy you a new car. You know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to do this and I'm supposed to do that. You get what I'm saying? And then when he can't, or when he does provide something, he doesn't even value what he's providing to her. You get what I'm saying? And so if he doesn't value, she ain't gonna value it. So therefore she gonna be like, okay, well, you say you gonna be a successful musician, then be one then. Like, you know what I'm saying? You still working at the auto shop. You get what I'm saying? When you gonna go, there's constructive ways to motivate men, but there are those ways that you speak of that that keeps you seeking the validation from her. And the real truth about that is that if you knew the worth of yourself, and if you stood by the value of what you brought, if you just had an idea, because let's say, for example, man, like, everybody's not a Bentley, everybody's not a Mercedes, but if you know that you're a good fucking Buick, you understand what I'm saying? And the engine is good, the interior is still good, the windows still roll down, the gas mileage is okay. You trust me, you have value. You get what I'm saying? Maybe not to the modern chick, but maybe to somebody else who wants a freaking bigger vehicle because they want a family. You get what I'm saying? If she wants the flashy car that nobody or only celebrities can afford, like, how you can't pitch yourself up against those standards. You got to be who you are. So whether you a Buick or whatever, you got to know what it is, not get it screwed up, bring it to the table, and be like, listen, if you're looking for a Bentley, baby, like, I'm not that. I'm a Buick. You know what I'm saying? Tell everybody to come. I got a bench seat up front. I can fit 4 up front, baby. Like that. This is what I do it for. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my game. Not the flashy game. You got to know your game. Know your game, stick in your lane. And so that way, when somebody try to compare your game to somebody else's game, you be like, listen, babe, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got a V8, he got a V6. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to know what it is that you're bringing to the table. And I find that to be a big deal these days, that a lot of men, they just don't stand by their value enough, and they're okay with their value being loosely compared too. Like, loosely compared. Like, you a Buick, you know what I'm saying, with a good paint job, 4 new tires. You understand what I'm saying? And a good engine that could run for another 300,000 miles. But she's a freaking, what is she? She's a SLC or something, like a 2-door Benz that's 15 years old. You get what I'm saying? Bad oil change because they're using the wrong oil change. You know what I'm saying? Can't afford the parts for the brakes. You get what I'm saying? Got gaskets leaking. You know what I'm saying? It had gone from 18 miles per gallon to 12. but she feels good because, you know what I'm saying, it's a Benz. And that's a lot of, in a lot of cases, you have men, I'm not just talking about women, but we're having men like that are in those positions trying to present themselves. I mean, you'd rather be the Buick that's well taken care of. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You should just want
Well,
to, yeah, that should be natural.
I got a question for you then. You
Yeah.
said earlier that, if I heard you correctly, you said you was in this situation at some point in time. I believe that's part of what your book talked about, if memory serves me correct, where you was with someone and it seemed like maybe they did not, you brought value to the table, and then they start to take that value for granted. And now you in a situation where you trying to reestablish that value for yourself, because let's be real, the closer we get to someone, it's easier for them to wipe away that value if we're not paying attention. Before we know it, we in a comparison game where they comparing us to who they hollered at 2 years ago, but there's a reason why you're not with that person from 2 years ago. But it's easy to get into that comparison game where, like you said, now you working harder, now you trying to go out there and buy this, and the third, not realizing like there's someone out there that would trade places with them in a heartbeat for what you bring into the table.
Facts.
So how do you get your value back if you've been submitted to that type of treatment for days, weeks, months, and you've forgotten your value? Because I think you got some people on here where, you know, maybe they have forgotten their value because they've been so entrenched with this relationship that now they like, well, I know shit ain't right. I know shit ain't sweet.
Listen,
but how in the world do I get this value back? Because I know where I was at before I met you, and I'm not sure how I let it slip or slide.
Listen, you got to, when you remember what the value is, which, you know, we've worked on coaching sessions before, which is, you know, it's tied around your core purpose and identity, right? But when you remember what it is, it's kind of like this. Let's say it's a Buick, right? You got to go to your Buick and be like, yo, let me change the oil again. You know what I'm saying? Let me get some new tires. Let me make sure I put on some better brake pads this time around. You get what I'm saying? Shit, I had it with the clear tint. Now I just want a darker tint this time. Let me change the stereo. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, let me change the stereo. Let me make sure that the spare tire is a good tire. I want a full-size spare now. You get what I'm saying? And then let me put a different kind of, you know, let me put a little remote start on it. You get what I'm saying? Because it'd be cold in this start of time. You go back to that purpose. You go back to that self, and you go add to it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because because guess what? You know, I'm from the South. You dig? Where dudes drive Crown Vics, and back in the day, of a variety of box Chevys. You get what I'm saying? And you can't tell me it ain't got value when they done went back and did all that stuff to it. And guess what? It may not be valuable to a dude that likes a Honda Civic. You get what I'm saying? But for that market, you did enough work to that. He did enough work to that Caprice. He set it up. We still respect it. Like, yeah, like nowadays, you know, my cousins used to have Dunks, you know, say cars with big wheels and stuff like that. You dig? Yeah. And like, I mean, it's been years. It's been like over 20 plus years since that was a popular thing, but you still respect it when you see it because you respect the work. You get what I'm saying? You're going to respect the work that he put in that Monte Carlo. This dude across the street from where I used to live, he used to have Monte Carlo. That Joker didn't look so good, but that engine was clean. And when he was ready to do them donuts in the neighborhood and keep everybody up, you know what I'm saying? I kind of enjoyed it. You dig? But the bottom line is you got to go back to your block. You get what I'm saying? If you forgot it, if you left the car in the garage for too long, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my cousin who got that Mustang, that 94 Cobra that he ain't seen or drove. It's been in the garage for all these years. You got to go back to it. You get what I'm saying? Fix it up, make it nice. You get what I'm saying? Because this is a part of who you are. So whatever that is, you know, I'm using a car because, you know, but you got to know what it is. So like, even if it's an old car, even if if it's that old Buick, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's got value, it's got worth. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if you have a newer car, because the guy who got the Dunk parked in the car, the box Chevy, well, he's got it parked in the garage. He got another car that he drives, but he ain't changed the oil on that. So that's the approach You got to go back and rebuild it, because then once you rebuild it and you start driving it again, you're gonna be like, damn, I ain't seen that kind of Buick in a long time. Like, I didn't even know they still make those. Somebody gonna stop you at the gas station, bro. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And that's how it is. And that's how women come to you as well, too, because you done fixed the value, you done restored it, you done made sure it looks good, you done made sure it's running on the right oil, you done fix that gasket problem that you had, that leak, you know what I'm saying? It's good to go. You get ain't nothing wrong with it. And then, and of course, you're not trying to sell it, but it's now in tip-top condition, and you can't complain about the condition. And then once you get it in good condition, man, trust me, it's gonna attract who it's gonna attract, bro. It's gonna attract, and they're not gonna. And then that's the other thing, you're gonna have to sit on it, because sometimes you attract people for the wrong reasons, of course. But you're gonna be like, listen, I know it's a 94, but it's a classic, baby. You get what I'm saying? That's number one. Number two, you know how much work, and it ain't just the money that I put into this. I put time into this. You get what I'm saying? Like, I didn't hire nobody. They don't even make these parts no more. I had to wait 6 months to get this. You get what I'm saying? You got to make people value what you put in to get it, because they like it on the outside sometimes, and they just like it on the outside. But you got to let them know that there was a lot of work that goes into it, into building what you built. And so, like, once you look at it from that perspective, you come in and say, oh yeah, it's a 94, but it's clean, it's nice. And like, my dad used to have this old, it's like this family car that we have for many, many, many years. I think, he was forced to get a new one. And he was like, he always used to brag about that car, but I could get more miles out of this. I could drive it this, that. I did, like, your car can't do that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, Dad, this car old. Like, you love these old cars. They run good, and they and whatever. It ain't got no oil leaks, and you keep it regular maintenance. You got papers on it, but don't nobody want that. But he was very confident that his car will perform better than any other 94. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna do as good as some of the newer ones. And he's gonna believe that shit. So you gotta believe that. Like, now, of course, the rest of, my mom and other people didn't really like that car that much in the family. But they convinced him to get rid of it. Sometimes he still be like, talks about it. So it's about value. It's about value. You have to value it yourself. You have to value it more than anybody else. And once you begin to value it more than anybody else, like, that's the name of the game right there. Like, nobody comes along and say, oh, this is an old 94. Yeah, it's an old 94, but it's my 94. And I love this 94. If you don't like my 94, get the fuck out of here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like it, I like it. Like, you got to like it too. And then you got to know that it took me a lot to get it to this point where it runs this nice. And then one day, her 07 or 2020 car, you know what I'm saying, gonna break down, and it's gonna be your old body one that she said that was so plain Jane that comes to pick her up. You get what I'm saying? That comes to give her a jump. Or something of that nature. And the reason why it's able to come through for her is because you made it reliable, you made it dependable, you made it advanced, you made it good, you made it acceptable, you increased the value of it. So you treat yourself like that, man. Like, there's nothing you can't do. There's nothing you can't do, because you're gonna attract what you attract. But the thing is, I think for a lot of us, when you do have a Buick, or let's say an Alfa Romeo, or whatever uniqueness that you are, you don't value it because others don't. And so you're going to have to go back to the drawing table. That's why you got to do the work. Because let's say some people would say back in the day, in the car days, rich kids would drive nicer, newer cars, and poor kids, essentially, if they got a car, will have to get something old and restore it. And they'll say, oh, you know what I'm saying? You only restoring that. You only got that because you ain't got no money. But I know a dude now, he still got one of his cars from like 20 plus years ago when we were in college. He loves that. He loves that damn car. He's got enough money to buy a few new, but he still love fixing up these other ones. You get what I'm saying? So it's just like, you got to have a love for what you do, who you are, and your type, and not compared to nobody else. You know, he got like, and then he got a new car, right? Do you think the car was new? No, it wasn't new. He bought some old oddball Mitsubishi. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, man, it's got this, that, and that. He likes it.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sure his wife wants a Benz. You know what I'm saying? A Benz would prefer a Benz Jeep, but that's the type of dude he is. And guess what? His wife likes what he likes. You get what I'm saying? And
of course.
Yeah, and that's because he likes his shit so much. And also the goal is to not, you shouldn't want to have to impress a woman. She should just be impressed. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
So when you said do the work, what was the work you specifically had to do in your situation like that?
In my situation, honestly, I was a nice guy. I was doing some nice guy stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I got myself caught up and I was giving like I was supposed to give. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But then when I realized that I wasn't going to get what I was looking for, it wasn't until like I had a homeboy, he was like, bro, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this. And I was like, damn, like I am, you know what I'm saying? But and then, and I had two friends who used to counsel me at that time. And one of them used to be like, he used to say to me, he used to say, bro, like you be trying to look at things from your own point of view. He's like, that's not how people see you all the time. You got a way different perspective of yourself than others. People see you as this, that, and that, and this is what you're doing. Like you're being this to her right now, and like you're not even appreciating that you're doing that. You're just giving it because you think you should be giving more. And so like I was like, okay, like I got it, but like I wasn't pleased with myself at the time. I really wasn't. And so like, I felt like I would want to give more, but what I was given was good. It was good and it should have been accepted and it was enough and it provided a home and it did all of these different things. And I was there and sure, I should have been appreciated and loved or whatever I was looking for at the time. But I myself wasn't happy with where I was. And lo and behold, so, somebody else adapted that mentality too, again, because I was so hard on myself. Now she think that she my motherfucking father. You ain't my goddamn father. I got a daddy. He called, I don't need no checks from most people. He gonna do it still to this day. You get what I'm saying? So I never needed that from her. I needed her to be like, I appreciate what you're doing. Keep on supporting, keep on doing that. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, that's what I needed. That's what I didn't get that, but I learned through others. I learned through my friends who told me that, bro, she don't deserve that. She don't deserve that. She don't deserve that. He who made it plain to me, you just being nice because you got caught up. You got caught up in this situation. You're trying to make the best out of it. But you know what I'm saying? Like, she don't get that from the average dude. The average dude ain't gonna get that. Ask her how many dudes did that for her. And then when you start asking, you'd be like, shit, nobody ever did this shit for you. So like, I was just given, from a heart space, just not looking for something in return. But eventually, there's no relationship ever where you shouldn't have something in return. Like it's about reciprocity or give and takes. So it's like, if I was getting what I was looking for, maybe I wouldn't be complaining or wouldn't have to be my friends wouldn't have to be saying to me, hey bro, like, you shouldn't be having these problems. Why you having problems when you're doing this, and that? You get what I'm saying? And she the one that chose you and she was so happy to have you and so excited to have you. Now it's about something else. Nah, because she moved the goalposts. You know what I'm saying? And you can't allow women to move the goalposts. You got to control the goalposts. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's to me, that was what changed. And honestly, tell you the truth, I didn't learn that lesson. That was 10 years ago. I didn't learn it right then. I just learned it like recently in the last couple of years. You feel me? Yeah, because I would normally, because when you got it as a man, like, you're going to want to give it. At the type of man that I am, you're going to want to give it. But now, just like, Barrett was saying, like, you can't just arbitrarily just trust these people. You know what I'm saying? It's not that we don't want to have trust, but it's like, it's the dating pool itself. It's the social conditioning that we're so used to these days. Like, this is what it is. Like, let's stop playing games. Like, you have to not necessarily come with a level of distrust, but like I said, it all starts with that trust that you have of yourself, knowing yourself the way you're supposed to know yourself, understanding your own BS, so that way nothing don't really just slide by you like that. And from that position, you want to be in a position where you attract somebody that's going to like you, and you're willing to trust, because you got to give trust to get trust in return. You do. You got to. So it's that's really a level to it that a lot of men just really got to work on. Just got to really work on your value. If you value yourself, I began to value myself more. You know what I'm saying? I stopped thinking that they're going to love me based on my ideals. Nah, shorty's supposed to love you based on her ideals. You hear what I'm saying? It's either you meet their ideals or not. So now if you're, let's say, at a 7 out of your 10 that you're trying to reach, and she meets you at a 7 and she loves you at a 7, you get what I'm saying? Then she should be motherfucking elated when you get to 8, when you get to 9, and when you finally get to 10, because it presents her with a better you. But she can't come and meet you and be happy to have you as a 7 and then turn around and tell you that you need to get to an 8 now, buddy. Okay, well, go get you a motherfucking 8 then. Go get you an 8 then. I'm sure you could get one. You probably can't, but go get it. So you got to be the one in charge of the goalposts. You got to move the goalposts. And once you're in control of it for yourself, like you challenge the women to love you for you. You get what I'm saying? Because the truth is, like we're talking about, most women don't. They love you for a combination of what they think is you and what they think you can provide or, give. And that it's not just material things. Sometimes it's love. Sometimes if you simping real hard, she knows she can count on you to give her some money. You know what I'm saying? She knows she can count on you when her car breaks down because she got a bootleg car. You know what I'm saying? She knows she can count on you, you know what I'm saying, to come through when nobody else is there. Like, women are looking for men who are available to give to them, generally speaking. It just doesn't mean that she has what it takes to give you what you need, because there's a level of validation and self-validation that you feel happy because you're able to give to her. Oh, okay, you feel happy about giving to her and not getting anything in return. Oh, you're a man. That's a lot of us. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, it's really about, really understanding the value that you're bringing, valuing it for what it is, especially if it's something that women don't generally value. Barrett, you're 32 years old, and if you're going to date somebody and she thinks that you're young or whatever the case, you got 10 years of experience doing something. Like, she's got to value that. That's like I was saying earlier. It can't just be like, oh, you just, no, you don't want nobody with you like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want somebody who values what you bring to the table, and they're only going to value it based on the lead that you take. So that's why it's sometimes very, very critical for men when you're going through these moments where you're hard on yourself or you're trying to level up. You get you a group of men. Complain to the men sometimes. You get what I'm saying? Express that to your brothers who can help you ascend to another level of where you're going. But it's not always appropriate to be like, yeah, babes, I'm in a junior position over here and I've been here for 5 years and I just can't wait till I get up and, like, these guys are causing the problem, but you're making good money. You're probably going to get the promotions at some point. You get what I'm saying? Sure. And if you keep working hard, and you're going to keep working hard, sometimes you want to do that with the men, the supportive men, and not with the woman. So that way your woman doesn't judge you based on, the struggles that you're having right now. She judges you based on your ability to move to the next level of your growth. All you got to say, hey, this is the next goal. Get what I'm saying? If you don't reach that next goal, then she maybe she has to consider whether or not she wants to be with you or not. You get what I'm saying? But the point is, you want her to love you without at where you met her at. You get what I'm saying? You want her to love you for who you are more than she loves your potential. But even still, as a man, you're going to want to set goals and objectives and reach them. And trust me, when you're setting them with your woman or with your woman present or, you know, mindful of it, they watching. You know what I'm saying? They're watching. They're watching. And so you can't be too hard on yourself, and you can't be too vocal about certain things, not with women. You know, she needs to be giving you the kind of love that you need to reach that goal, rather than to be, you know, somebody who's like, how's that goal going? You know, so you know, yeah, you want her to check up on you, but you don't want to feel like she can never be the motivation for you to reach the next goal of your evolution. That's the real point. She can't be the motivation. You've got to be the motivation. You've got to find that motivation. Purpose has got to find that motivation. And once you can automatically do that for yourself, and you know, and the woman actually is loving you for who you are, I think that changes the game. I think that changes the game. And you're not knocking down your own value. You're not, you know, because women don't like to see when we lose our confidence. It affects them. You get what I'm saying? Go talk to your bros. You go talk to your bros. You get some strength from them, and then come back to her feeling confident about the fact that you might make partner next year. Feel confident that you might get a raise. Feeling confident that you saved enough to jump into the business. You get what I'm saying? Because sometimes we have doubts, and I'm telling you, the woman ain't the person to express those doubts to, unless your failure affects her. Now, failure and doubts are two different things. We might doubt, you know, doubt might keep you from achieving, but you're not a failure. You're still doing what you're supposed to do. You're just trying to get to the next level. You got to give yourself a mark for being in the game this long. You're not a failure. So even if you don't get to this next level, it's not that you're not a failure. You just have to go back to the drawing board and figure out how to do it, and, you know, how to do it with less pressure. You know what I'm saying? Not less pressure from others, but more pressure from yourself, more internal drive, more motivation, with a more value for what you're doing. So that way, you know, it's not, oh, you know, she believes in me, and because she believes in me, I can do this. No, you believe in you. You get what I'm saying? And you believe in a whole lot of shit that even if y'all been together for years, she don't even fucking understand. She'd never be excited about it as you are. You're not looking for nobody who gets more excited about your purpose and your goals than you. You want somebody who's excited that she's a part of the process. You know what I'm saying? And that she got you, because she's confident in her choice. I got this guy, and I know why I liked him. And I believe that he's going to meet his next goal and the goal after that and all these other goals. I don't care whether or not he meets them or not. I'm not going to judge him or love him less. Now, that's a lot to ask for from a woman, but ideally speaking, when you come from such a solid space of appreciating yourself, loving yourself, knowing your value, knowing your worth, and then actually having access to the tools you need, so that way you can fix what's wrong. Because that's the thing. Sometimes you just need to tweak a few things. You get what I'm saying? Tweak the vehicle, get more horsepower. You know what I'm saying? Figure out where you could tweak, get more power out of it, and you get further along. And then she'd be like, see, I knew you could figure that shit out. You get what I'm saying? And maybe not. We're not going to be dependent on her saying that. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be like, see, I knew I shouldn't have been worried so much. I got this. You know what I'm saying? I just got to believe in myself. And that's usually what it really does boil down to. It's definitely a complex thing dealing with all we've been through in society and in these relationships, but it really does start with you building, rebuilding, and adding to your value, always. And women should take their lead from that. They want to be with you, they got to respect that. And if they can't respect that, you can't be with them. Plain and simple.
Hey, Nakata, thanks, man. I appreciate your time, man. I appreciate you having me on.
No
Darren,
problem, Barrett.
appreciate y'all chiming in. Hey,
No problem, bro. I appreciated having you on as well. And I'm gonna wrap this up right now. If there's ain't no more questions, man. As usual, guys, I'm out here doing this, and be doing this a little bit more often. Got to register to be on the Zoom call, but nonetheless,
Sure.
you know, I'm here. Show some Cash App love if you can. I would put a little screen on there, but I didn't do that. I am Nakata, heartonbreak@gmail for PayPal. Appreciate you guys supporting and coming out. Try to make this a more frequent thing. We'll just shoot the breeze, especially with folks like yourself, Ray. We've worked together a few times before. Barrett, I hope we could work together sometime. Same thing with you, Darren. Appreciate you guys as well, man. If you got any more questions, let me know right now. Or even though some of y'all over there on Instagram, if you got any questions, let me know as well too.
Thanks.
Yeah, what's your Cash App, man? Is it I am Nakata?
Yes, sir. Cash out. I am Nakata. Appreciate that. What you say, Barrett?
I was just saying, thanks, man. Appreciate your time, man.
No problem, bro. Keep striving towards what you're doing, man. You're doing a good job. Be yourself, man. Sound like you're much of yourself already. Just they gotta appreciate it, bro.
Nakata, I do got a question for you, man.
Sure.
So when you figured out your value in that relationship and she wasn't willing to see your value, you made the decision to let her go.
That's a great question, because I didn't figure out my value in that relationship. I just knew something was off because I didn't have the sense to realize I was getting played. I was being manipulated to a certain degree. But I knew something was off about it. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, but hold on, like, why am I the one trying to prove myself to you when I'm the one that's doing all of this? You get what I'm saying?
Sure, absolutely.
I'm just like, but I knew something was wrong with it. So, and because I couldn't put my finger on it, I just ended the relationship. I was like, I can't explain it. Something's fucked up about this shit. I don't like how I feel. So we're not going to do this. You know what I'm saying? It took years, like I said, to really, took 3 years to really get there. You get what I'm saying? To get the 3 more years to get the idea, and then another couple more years to really live it, where, but then like you said, like we fall back into these stereotypes of these things very, very often. So sometimes you out here giving for no reason, giving, not receiving, and being okay with that because it's a bad fucking habit. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of men, especially if you came up, or you're the type that, perhaps have a little bit more to give, always have a little bit more to give, or something like that. You used to being the one that provides certain things, you know what I'm saying? And you do it easily. You just got to be more subjective about who you're giving that to. You have to be. You got to protect the value of what you got. So I didn't learn my value in that relationship, bro. I didn't. But I knew something was wrong. And because something was wrong, even though I didn't have the intelligence to figure out, I didn't have this manosphere mentality. Like I had a cousin who was really, really big on the Patrice O'Neal stuff back in the day. And I wasn't really quite listening, because until then I didn't really have bad relationships personally. So I, when I had my first bad relationship, I was trying to fix it. I was trying to figure out what I can do better. And I think a lot of men do that. But then when you look and you realize, damn, I did a lot of things pretty damn good and I still didn't get what I was looking for. Fuck out of here. I can't do that. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know how to describe it. I don't got the words for it. Maybe I don't understand women, but I know that once I did the analyzing and seeing what I was given versus what I was getting, it didn't add up. I wasn't getting what I wanted to get. And I think that boiled down to me, even back then, having a standard of what I want, because I did have a standard of what I wanted. One of the situations was like, I'm like, if I put you in my house and like, I don't want to come home to that shit dirty. You know what I'm saying? And like, that was a simple thing for me. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, especially if you wasn't living nowhere before, you feel me? Keep this bit clean.
Sure.
You feel what I'm saying? That's a request. That's what I like.
Yeah.
And then, you'd be like, oh, modern women don't clean and okay. Maybe that's it. But maybe I'm not that damn modern. You get what I'm saying? Like, like, I'm like, I even thought to myself, damn, bro, like, is this really that big of a deal for you? I'm like, yeah, it's a fucking big deal to me. You know what I'm saying? Like basic stuff was like, like I said, I got old parents. It's really basic for me, and I'm not going to change who I am. You get what I'm saying? Sure. It's really that damn simple. So there were other things, of course, but I'm just using one example because I knew back then that I wasn't asking too much for this. And you know what I mean? And so
Absolutely.
once you establish that kind of thing, then you can't fall for the okie doke no more, because at least even if something is wrong in the situation, you get, like, people not perfect, but at least if if you're looking for a relationship that's sex, conversation, and food, let's say that's your home base, and you can only get food out of it, but no sex and no conversation, you got the damn right to not be happy with that. You get what I'm saying? You
Sure.
can't just be like, well, I'm getting the food. Like, I'm okay with getting the sex periodical. Like, whenever she wants to. No. You know what I'm saying? Nah.
Yeah.
You got to learn that you come into a certain situation with a certain expectation. You set expectations that the other person can meet, not expectations of who the other person should be. Expectations they can meet, not who they can be, because that whole change thing that we were talking about earlier, that's often the problem. That's often the core of the problem, that people really not going to change. And if you can't love them for who they are, then you might be barking up the wrong tree with this whole love shit in the first place.
Gotcha.
Which most of us are. Like, we can all pretty much admit to this, right?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think it's a different game these days, though, because men and women, but finally men are becoming more aware, just becoming more aware, because like being a nice, just think about it. Women said they wanted to be a nice guy. There are legions of men who thought that that's what they were supposed to be. They tried the shit and it didn't work. And that could have been resulted in wasting years, tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, or going to jail because it didn't work out. All kind of crazy shit. You get what I'm saying? Like,
right.
The results is all kinds of crazy stuff. So now when you finally do know what you want, and you can put your foot down to get it, at least you're not wasting your time. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Let the problem be that she got sick and y'all are not having sex, rather than she just, you're finding out that she likes to play games and manipulation games, and tell you, and she keeps a little scoreboard of how many points that you earn, so you before you get some, or something like that. You get what I'm saying? Like, let it be some circumstance, rather than the fact that this person is not inclined to give you what you want. But you'll never get it if you don't stand up for it. That's for sure. And you got to know that it's worth asking for, because a lot of
if it's at the risk of even if it's at the risk of losing the person, you got to ask for it.
But you got to be, but you see, you got to be willing to lose the person early. I think in any kind of courtship, you got to be willing to lose them on the first date, second date, first month, second month, up to 3 to 4 months. You got to be willing to lose them. You get what I'm saying? Got to be willing. As a matter of fact, 3 to 4 months is the early stage. Maybe it goes down less, but really and truly, it's within the first year, first 6 months. Especially if you're being careful and you're not getting too reckless with her. Get what I'm saying? Like, you can cut her loose if she decides that the true colors are not what. If she says she was blue and you find out the true colors is green and yellow. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, like, you was hiding that green and yellow on there. I see the green and yellow. I'm sorry, baby. I really love blue. But she's like, but you've been liking it. Yeah, but now that I can see it, like, I just don't like how that shit look. I wanted it blue. But we've been together. I'm sorry, babes. You said you was blue. You had on some blue. It looked blue. It ain't blue after 6 months. Now it ain't blue. Like, what you want me to do? But I can be blue. No, you can't. You're not blue. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. A lot of people, when they say, but I can be this, they just lying to themselves, and you're allowing the other person to lie. And you know what I'm saying? And you're lying to yourself. So that's really where it starts. But yeah, man, I'm gonna wrap it up for you, man. I appreciate you, man. Ray, whenever, man, just hit me up and get on another call.
I'm gonna line something up with you this week. I got some stuff I gotta bounce off of you. Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna line something up with you this week. I just sent some to Cash App also.
All right, man. I appreciate you as usual, man. All of y'all Instagram folks out there, appreciate y'all guys for tuning in. Be sure to share this. You can show some Cash App love as well. It's I am Nakada, # I am NAKADA. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Heart on Break for PayPal, heartonbreak@gmail. Or you can always, the best way to support your boy is to leave a review of Heart on Break on Amazon. leave a review or buy the book. You know what I'm saying? Send it to some young men. And I got other things as well too. You know, I deal with the health world. We're going to be doing some more lives talking about health conditions. We got some workshops coming up, some mini workshops, some workshops that's going to get your stroke back, you know what I'm saying? And all kind of stuff, help you manage your stress, you know, help you manage your body, because like this testosterone, estrogen, hormone management that the world's been doing to us, you'd be surprised how much other deficiencies that leads to. So yes, sir, we out of here. Exactly, Matthew. It's always easier when you know yourself. Always, you know, and take time developing. Take time. That's the thing. We've spent so much time on women. We've so much time on various forms of validation, so much time on material validation. You know what I'm saying? The purpose requires that it should, and you should honor it, especially if you're finding it late. If you're finding it in your 20s, 30s, or 40s, it needs that much more of your time, because you should have been popping on that since you were 12. You know what I mean? So appreciate you guys, and I'm out of here.
All right.